What is up, RotoGrinders? 2 hours of nonstop MLB DFS conversation, taking you all the way up the first pitch. It starts right now. I'm Dean 78904. If you want to get all technical, joined today by one of the greatest DFS players slash producers, probably the greatest, actually. Let's be honest. Let's get from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. It's TJ's works. TJ coming off the high of his birthday week and Canada Day. What's up, TJ? How are things?
Doing pretty well. Had a nice little evening last night. Not celebrating Canada Day, actually, but celebrating an engagement of my siblings-in-law. And so that was a really nice evening not technically in-law yet. Well, actually, yes, Ava's siblings. So long story short, I went to an engagement party. It was a really nice night. And now we'll just get to talk about some baseball with my good friend Dean. So life's good.
Is that a thing? Siblings-in-law? Is that an actual term that I'm not aware of? Is that something? Is that an official? Did you make that up? Like I can piece that together. Your wife's brother or sister got engaged. Is that what a siblings-in-law is? Is that a real thing? I feel like I've never heard that term before. That's called something, isn't it? It might be called something different in America, or maybe I'm just off my rocker. I think. Yeah. All right. Well, shout out to your in-laws, or shout out to your siblings-in-law. Hopefully everybody had a good time. I had a good time in the baseball streets. We almost got there. It was very, very close last night with we had some Texas. We had some Arizona. At one point in time in the slate, we were up a good bit. Still a profitable night, but it's the FS we care about today. And today only, TJ. It's a brand new slate. We shake up that etch-a-sketch. We're back at 0. We have some really good pitchers. Another game back in Coors. Last night, I thought it was pretty easy to fade Coors with, Houston taking on a righty. Now tonight, man, they get a lefty and they get a really bad lefty. They don't have a ton of righty power. The wind is also blowing out too to left center, which is perfect for whatever righty power there is on Houston. I'm finding it very hard to get away from some Houston stuff today, which I don't like it. Yesterday I was comfortable fading that chalk, but today I don't know. Well, we'll talk about it. I'm curious as far as getting your opinion. We have some pretty clear top pitchers as well, one of which is throwing baseballs for Houston against the Rockies. We saw Hunter Goodman, who was supposed to go in the IL. That was the original report. He's like, nah, I'm good. And then he went out and begged a couple of homers out. So yeah, he's at least one shining star there for the Rockies. But Hunter Brown, speaking of Hunters, battle of the Hunters. We could have power ranked Hunters today for our tiers board today, I suppose. Shout out to Hunter Pence. Hunter Brown throwing baseballs. Not the best option, I don't think. We'll talk about it. Probably Logan Gilbert. He's just a career-high swinging strike rate, career-high K rate. I know the sample's a little bit small. I know the matchup against KC as far as strikeouts, not necessarily the biggest upside, but offensively, they're pretty putrid outside of a couple of hitters. The Royals, that is. How are you seeing tonight's slate?
I'm kind of feeling like it might be I haven't decided 100% yet, but I'm considering just hitting the lock button on Logan Gilbert. Great pitcher's park. He's been lights out. And it's KC, right? Like, we're not too worried about KC. They don't strike out very much, but they're still a very low power baseball team. So I'm debating hitting the lock button on Logan Gilbert. At bare minimum, I'm going to be having about 60, 70, 80% of him. Slate as a whole, I really like a lot of the offenses. Obviously, we have Houston and the Dodgers standing out with those 6+ implied team totals. But I think there's quite a few other spots that could potentially match them tonight. I'd say about 2 to 3 other stacks I would put personally in that same tier as Houston and the Dodgers. So feeling pretty good about today. I'm excited. Plus, of course, we got some Spidey bombs every 50 likes as well.
Yeah, I saw the other night. I don't know what it was yesterday, but a couple days ago, Spidey had a couple outs. Yeah, we shouted those out. I think it was 2 for 4. I don't know if Spidey went on a cold streak and then tonight he's going to rebound. We shall see. But yeah, hit that like button every 50 likes. We get a new Spidey bomb from TJ. Jurgensen Profar is making his debut today for the Braves. He's back after serving his suspension. He's hitting in the 5-hole there for the Braves. Taking on Kikuchi, who's been I'm not saying you got to test Kikuchi, but he's been on fire of late too. He's been spectacular. He's kind of like Holmes a little bit on the other side. A lot of strikeouts, but a lot of hard hit contact, and you got to survive those homers sometimes. But there's a chance he strikes out 8, 9, 10 of these Braves. There's also a chance he gives up maybe 3 homers or so. I'm curious to see. We'll talk about it later on as far as tiers. You said you liked about 3 or 4 other teams. I'm trying to find those teams. I'm trying to find them. I'm probably going to go back to Texas because they're cheap. I'm definitely going to consider them. But, well, I'm curious. So, we're going to talk pitching first, obviously. We're getting the screenshot right now as far as how we're seeing the slate as a big old overview. Maybe we get Josh Naylor again. I was watching that game last night, and the announcers were like, yeah, was it Lovolo? Was it Lovello? Was it the guy's name, the manager for Arizona? It's like what he likes to do is he likes to put the player that's injured or questionable in the lineup and then work them out, and then they'll scratch. That's why you ever notice Arizona team seems to get scratched more than most teams. That's what the manager does. He just plugs him in, and then a little pregame workout. Nah, he's got a neck still. So that's why we saw Naylor get scratched. And by the way, one of my favorite things to do, you probably like this as well, TJ, once people are like done with the slate, they've checked out, they're having dinner, hanging out with the family on the Netflix, what they're doing, is when a player gets scratched like 7, 8 o'clock, into the slate, plug in the player that all of a sudden pops in. That's actually, if they're actually like competent, if they have a heartbeat and they have the ability to bang one out. I think that was Grichuk last night. And, there's no science to this, but just nobody's going to play that guy. And he homered. Spoiler alert. Just a little, is that something you care about, TJ? Are you somebody that's like, I don't have that player, so I don't care. I'm just going to check out and do my thing. Yeah, you understand this principle. You understand this concept, yes?
Well, yeah, I'm typically playing 150 lineups, and so I have to do rebuild the whole set, and so I'll get the new player into the build and get the old one out and do a full rebuild of lineups.
All right. Is that what you're running tonight, 150?
Yes, sir.
All right. So maybe we'll play the game as far as trying to guess how many pitchers are in your pitcher pool. We were talking about this pre-show. I was looking at the ownership, and this ownership team does a fabulous job, TJ. I always got to add that qualifier. No offense, but that's now anything I say now is, I made it very clear. I was very complimentary, but I don't know why our ownership team is seeing that Bernardino and Brazoban getting ownership. Now, I think the reason is because they're projecting a lot of pitches for most of the guys, and I just don't see it. I don't see how Brazoban's going to throw 83 pitches. I don't see how Bernardino's going to throw 78. If they were, they're 4K. And then, of course, yes. But if you look at their game logs, it's like, I don't know how these guys are just going to jump up and throw 75 pitches or so. It does not make sense to me. I think the bat has it differently for what it's worth, kind of bounce back and forth in those two things. You mentioned Logan Gilbert. Yeah, the biggest K rate on the slate by far, not even a conversation, 37%. Well, it's his highest total in his career by far. It's only 45 innings. He hasn't pitched the entire season, but that is spectacular. The walks are great at 4.4%. And again, the season high, career high, swinging strike rate at 18.2%, which is really goofy. Just like if you put it in perspective, Brown's at 11.7, Mizorowski at 13.3, and those are good numbers. 18.2%. That has to go down at some point. But he's been awesome. 211 Sierra, which is incredible. That is a spectacular number. 3.55 ERA is certainly good, but it's saying he's actually been unlucky to some extent. You're saying lock city on Gilbert. That's the possible strategy here.
Potentially, now that I'm looking at the entirety of the pool I've tentatively built, not setting it in stone yet. It could definitely still adjust, especially as I watch the guys on crunch time. But as of right now, I got 8 in the pool. I don't think it'll be a lock button on Gilbert, but I'll certainly be over the field. Okay,
we're going to play the game. By the way, I do want to say, and again, I'm not in the projection team. I looked into it, and I don't see how Bernardino and Brazoban throw as many pitches as we currently haven't projected. We're still 2 hours out, and the closer we get to lock, the more refined the numbers get. I imagine they're going to be on top of it. I did pull up Derek Hardy's The Bats, and we have he has got Bernardino throwing 22 pitches and Brazoban throwing 26, and then just being not nearly as appealing, obviously. If they throw 70 pitches, you can certainly, at 4K, you can play most any pitcher. that has an arm and that's throwing baseballs professionally, didn't take your chances, which is the argument, I suppose, for Gomber, which maybe we'll get there. I'm not sure if Gomber's in your pool. I know Dave wrote about him, and not necessarily glowingly, but he wrote about him today in the musings. Okay, let's play.
I had a dream last night that I was trying out for a major league team as a pitcher.
Did you fall asleep to I'm trying to think, what, Mr. 3000 or something?
No, I watched Moneyball like 3 nights ago. But I think I'm just realizing that now. I'm like remembering it, and it wasn't like it was like what was that movie with? I think it was like The Rookie.
The Rookie, the Cubs, he broke his arm and they stitched it up and it healed up like so strong. Is that what you're talking about for the Cubbies?
No, like it's the one. It was I can't even remember the actor's name.
Seventh Inning Fetch, starring Air Bud. Is that what it was, possibly?
I think it was like Randy Quaid, and he was like 40 years old, but could still pitch 100 miles an hour. And then
Dennis Quaid, I believe.
Dennis Quaid. Thank you. Yes.
Randy Quaid was the heckler in Major League, I think.
Yeah. Dennis Quaid was like a 40-year-old who could still pitch 100. Rookie of the year.
That was called The Rookie.
The Rookie, yeah. That's what I was thinking of, and it was like that type of situation where I was like, no, I'm not a baseball player, but if you give me a baseball, I can throw it as fast as I want, wherever I want to. And so I would just like have these Major League Baseball teams coming to see me. And that was my dream last night. And I'm just remembering that.
The Rookie was about a guy that toiled in the minors, I think, for years upon years. I think it was the Rays. I want to say it was the Rays. He eventually, at some point, got a cup of coffee in the majors. And I think he got his face punched in, if I'm not mistaken. But he didn't last very long. But, good for him. Good story. Way to stick it out. Rookie of the year is what we were talking about as far as the Cubs. Thank you, chat, for that. All right. Favorite baseball movies? Go ahead. Let us know here in the chat. That's Moneyball, not today's team. I think it's Moneyball, too. I think it's Moneyball. The other one's right there.
That, like, from an accuracy standpoint into what actually happened, it is not correct at all. But from a enjoyment standpoint, it was awesome.
The biggest flaw in Moneyball is they forget to mention they had 3 spectacular pitchers on rookie contracts. That they just totally overlooked.
And Tejada's not in the movie, but he's in every single broadcast when they're doing well. It's like Tejada with another walk-off.
All right. Let's see. Do we not have lineups just yet for Boston and Cincinnati? That's the first game. Yeah, no Boston just yet. We're expecting, again, Brennan Bernardino to start for Boston against Martinez. There was a lot of dig. I think in total we had 19 baseball games today. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, which feels like a record of some sort. Although maybe back in the day they probably had like doubleheaders scheduled all the time. Shout out to Rothbully telling us to stay away from that Boston game last night, Boston-Cincinnati. I'm still waiting for a pending ruling at TJ, but I think this is going to go in my favor. I bet both pitchers under last night, and it still says pending. So I think I might get a winner now that game is locked. At worst, I guess I'll get my money back, but because they didn't finish it last night, it was a suspended game. But either way, it was a sharp play when Roth was talking about it. Ketel Marte is plus 625. You don't say. Wow, that's a beautiful
I got him
number.
at plus 550, and I thought that was incredible. And then I just look at scores and odds, and you can get him for plus 625. Absolutely incredible. Like Landon Roop is not bad by any means, but big part downgrade for him going from the Giants to Arizona. And Ketel Marte has been hot. So, yeah, Marte, Spuddy Bomb number 1, plus 625.
A 322 ISO versus righties in the season. He just missed one last night if you're watching that game. Right to the warning track.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's the worst when they just miss. Or again, we always talk about the barrel account. It's just the most tilting thing. I don't want to know. I kind of want to know, but I don't want to know when they
the amount of times I go through that just and torture myself.
Yeah, I mean, you got to torture. You got to get your money's worth. Yeah, you're gonna lose. At least torture yourself in addition to losing some money. That's how that goes, I suppose. So, all right, what is the official pool? This is flexible. It's fluid, but 8, 9. How many pitchers we're expecting to be in your pool when you're running 150 tonight?
Flexible, adaptable, changeable. But right now we got 8 guys in the pool. All
right. So Gilbert's in.
Yes, he is.
I assume Hunter Brown's more expensive than Gilbert, which that's probably not correct, just when you consider the ballpark. And it's not. Seattle is one of the best ballparks to throw baseballs, and you have, Coors, one of the worst, if not the worst. And you could argue Gilbert's been a better pitcher this year than Brown. Like you can very clearly argue that. But ownership's going to reflect it. Do you think you're going to double barrel there? Can you make it work as far as rostering them both in the same lineup? I'm considering it. I'm a hand builder. I haven't built anything just yet, obviously. Do it after the show when crunch time's on. Do you have any lineups with both Gilbert and Brown?
This depends. Are you asking me as your fellow co-host, or are you asking me as a member of the game show where you have 3 strikes to guess my pitching pool?
Well, I mean, look, you do some things, and I like when people take stands, but I was going to say I can't imagine, but I guess it's possible. I wouldn't think that you're going to X out Hunter Brown if you're running 150. I wouldn't think that he would not be in your pool. I can't imagine not having Hunter Brown if you're running 150. I'm saying it. He's in your 150. But it's flexible. It might change at some point, but okay, tell me why.
It's 40% owned in Coors Field, and he's expensive. There's no price discount. There's no ownership discount. It's just an ace who's really, really good pitching against a bad team, priced appropriately, but he's also really owned, and he's in Coors Field. There's just too many possible outs for him to do poorly in that scenario, so I'm going to be going with no Hunter Brown in this spot.
Okay, that is a bold...
I'm going to say instead of getting 40% Logan Gilbert and 40% Hunter Brown, I'm going to play 80% Logan Gilbert.
Yeah. As far as the lineup here for Colorado, we do have an official confirmed lineup. Strikeouts are abound, 27% collectively. Freeman, the leadoff hitter, big contact guy. Estrada, neither one of them have any punch in their bat. They're both in the red as far as their ISO, but they have been pretty contact heavy. But otherwise, man, Toglia 44%, Ritter, it's a cup of coffee, but 40% for the rookie Ritter, 31% for McMahon. Hunter Brown this year, he's been reverse splits as far as his strikeouts, 34% strikeouts versus lefties. Now, Colorado can only get so left-handed, but their lefties are McMahon, 31%, Moniak at 24%, and Toglia at 44%. I'm going to play some Brown, but I can respect anybody taking a stand. And he is more expensive than Gilbert, which is, I think Gilbert's going to be.
That's exactly it. It's just, I just need Gilbert to score within 5 points of Hunter Brown, and then I'm comfortable with that. And even if Hunter Brown scores 30 points, if all my other pitchers are cheaper than him, I can still absolutely build a lineup that beats his lineups. It's also, like I mentioned, really, really good hitting weather in Coors tonight. Obviously, you got to hit it to take advantage of the hitting weather. But, in a 42-game sample, we're looking at a bump in homers at 30.5%. Wind is blowing out to right field, which is, to left field. To left field, 11 miles per hour. 37's the dude, 92's the temp. We got the fire emoji. Hot in a couple places. Hot in Atlanta, 86 in Atlanta. We don't have a huge sample. It's 11 games. So, grain of salt, but 66% bump in homers. Again, just 11 games. So temper that a little bit, but I do think that's probably bad for someone like Kikuchi, who sort of survives on balls dying on the warning track, but he also misses a lot of bats too, especially of late. I think it's hot someplace else too. I think isn't there another? They're talking about the Cubs. No, nothing really in Chicago. It's sort of a crosswind. We haven't seen a bump in homers at 13%. So it's 84 as far as the temp. It's not amazing. It's not bad. Probably a little bit positive. Runs essentially the same in a 112-game sample. Talking about the Cubs. Okay, let's sort of jump back to the game. So I guess I got a big old X on Hunter Brown. By the way, we just got a refresh on Lineup HQ. I wonder if they changed some of the pitching projections around or not. I'm not sure. But, okay. So it appears they have. Bernardino now is projected to throw 22 pitches. But Brazoban still with 83. Okay. What am I missing there, TJ? Have you looked at this at all? Because I'm so confused why we're projecting so many pitches for Brazoban. You are on mute, sir. 1-0. Oh,
TJ is on mute.
Dogs are barking. No, I am not. I haven't looked at that at all just because I had the bat projections up, and so I didn't even notice he was projected for a lot. So on 6/28, Brazoban threw a third of an inning. On 6/24, he threw a third of an inning. On the 21st, 2 innings. The 19th, 2/3. I don't see the spike here, and I imagine
I think we gave somebody a heads up here. I imagine somebody's going to see this and change this because I don't want. Look, they're your own lineups. Do what you want to do, but I personally wouldn't make this projection. Not my job. I just don't think it's accurate, and I would lean into what the bat currently says as opposed to what we currently have. They did change the Bernardino one down to 22 pitches, who essentially might go 1 or 2 innings. I'm not sure. I think I saw, was it Chris Burt is the projected long man according to DK. Cooper Criswell. This is the back half of essentially a doubleheader or a game and a half, right? They had essentially I think the first game today was 5 innings or so. I don't know who came in after Fitz. But sometimes you see bullpen guys work 2 games. Okay, back to the game, TJ. Let's go ahead and knock out some more pitchers on your board. I have an X, and I have, let's say, kind of work backwards. Well, okay, so Will Warren has got to be in your pool just because he's got K upside.
Yes, yeah? Absolutely.
Okay.
Will Warren is in the pool. Not a lot of potential K upside against the Blue Jays, but just he's going to face a whole bunch of righties, and he strikes out over 30% of them. So, just loading up on Will Warren today at low price and not that high of ownership just feels like a good idea.
TJ, if Toronto wins this game, they will be tied for first with the Yankees.
And ahead of them based on tiebreaker. I don't know. Do you use tiebreaker in baseball? But
what is the first tiebreaker? Head to head? I'm not sure. I would assume it's head to head, but I don't know. At some point, it gets to runs for or runs against or differential, or I think the first one is head to head. That makes sense.
If it's head to head, then yeah. If the Blue Jays win tonight and the Rays play anymore? No, did they lose today? Oh, they won.
The Rays played over today.
Yeah, so I still think though because the Blue Jays have played one last game, the Blue Jays would be winning the division if they win today.
There you go. You can't win the division in July, but they're positioning themselves at least to have a shot in the back half. We're a little.
The AL is pretty damn weak this year. Outside of the AL East, the Tigers are the best team in general. It's not a strong division.
Yeah, I'm kind of going through them right now. Texas, kind of a down year. There's not a lot of elite teams. You're right. Cleveland is pretty meh. Minnesota is just sort of where they always are, basically. A little bit down. KC's disappointing. The White Sox are horrendous. Baltimore has been a massive disappointment. I mean, Boston trading pieces away, going to the young guys. You're right. It's not the same exact thing, but it's kind of like what the East is going to be for the NBA next year. There's some teams obviously that will elevate. And shout out to Detroit. Detroit 54-22. Riley Green banged out a couple homers earlier today to get 6 RBI. Skewball, greatest pitcher in the world. Okay, back to the board. Warren's on your board for sure, obviously. Oh, Imanaga. You got to have Imanaga there. He's still a little bit too cheap. First game back, he was awesome. They subdued his pitch count. I think 77 in 5 innings. I think it was a hit and a walk. So maybe he bumps up to 85-ish. Maybe not a full allotment of pitches. We have 89 for what it's worth. And against that aforementioned Cleveland team, more strikeouts there. It's J-Ram and a bunch of dudes. Imanaga, guaranteed he's in your pool. He's got to be.
Yes. Shota Imanaga is in the pool.
I
don't really have anything to add because you broke down why pretty well.
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to think who is coming up next in the pool for you. Merrill Kelly, maybe.
Merrill Kelly is in the pool. Don't think he's going to be going very highly owned today, and San Fran has just really, really been scuffling. I don't really like he's just kind of fine. I don't like him that much, but $9,100 against San Fran, I do think there's a ceiling.
Do I want to know what's going on in chat? I just saw Kirkwood's random chat comment out of context. Do I want to read more, or should I just move on? I feel like I should move on.
The chat's going wild that apparently I haven't read anything, so I don't know what is true and what's not, but they're saying that Diddy was found not guilty in his trial, and I just don't know why everybody is so invested. I think it's kind of weird.
Yeah, well, yeah, I haven't read. I've not been following it. I only get my random news from random comments by Kirk.
Everything I hear about this is against my will.
Yeah. And there's what was the is it Reed, the Boston lady who maybe killed a cop, ran over him or something? I haven't read. That's another one people are going, loving. Somebody in chat will let me know. Is it Karen Reed? Am I making that name up? Is that correct? But that's another one that people are talking about a lot that I've somehow managed to avoid the entire thing. Okay. Players, pitchers specifically, that are in TJ's pool. Who else would be in there? Oh, Mizorowski. You got to have the Miz in there.
I do have the Miz in there. That's one of the reasons I'm comfortable fading Hunter Brown is I do feel like even though he's in a much less nice of a spot, I do see a scenario where he outscores him today. And so he's just been absolutely lights out. Maybe I get Chase Burns like I did the other night, Chase burned. But I will be playing a lot of the Miz tonight.
Yeah, it's small sample stuff, but 33.9% as far as the Ks. The walk's a little bit troublesome at 12.5% against it's small sample. And I know Dave was talking about this in his article today. Again, what are you gonna do with 16 innings? A 69 BABIP, that's not sustainable. It's impossible to have a career with a 69 BABIP, as nice as that may be. A left on base at 93%, that has to jump down as well. The 1.13 ERA, again, we see the arm. It's electric. He's throwing some heat. There's certainly K upside. Taking on a New York team that's not necessarily the best matchup. Although the Mets, speaking of, you're talking about how good the Blue Jays have been, the Mets have been scuffling. They've been scuffling of late. It's been kind of a roller coaster for their team so far this season and their fans. The Marlins have won 8 in a row. Shout out to the Marlins. I feel like they haven't done that, I don't know, since before the Jeter era, if I'm not mistaken.
The Marlins and the Tigers, the elite teams of the league.
I mean, that's just how weird baseball is, right? Just getting the playoffs, and anybody can win 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5. That's just how that goes. The worst team in the league can beat the best team in the league 3 out of 5. Kershaw's going for a strikeout 3,000 tonight. Where is he at? I hope he's close because I don't think he's going to get more than like 5. What is Kershaw's career number? Let me know in chat. How many more do we need from Clayton Kershaw? He's been pretty good. The K's obviously not where they once were. Pretty serviceable. 18.6% as far as the K's. Getting ground balls. He needs 4. Oh, he's going to get 4, right? He'll get 4. You want more than 4, though. And he's not like dirt cheap anymore. He's like 8K or so. All right. How many more do I have to get here, TJ? And as far as pitchers in your pool?
You've gotten 1 wrong, and you have 3 left to name.
Okay, so there's 3 left. I have to hit on the board.
Correctly guessed Mizorowski, Gilbert, Kelly, Imanaga, Warren.
Let's see. You're not going to play Eovaldi. He's on a pitch count, and he stunk last time out. And he's too expensive. But besides that, maybe Jose Barrios. I'll put him in the maybe bucket for a second. Maybe Kershaw. Maybe. Could it be Noah Cameron? I'm kind of a Noah Cameron hater. I think he's sort of fraudulent. But the ERA looks really good. But if you look at the Sierra, it's almost 2 points higher. 2.79 ERA, but the ballpark's great in Seattle. Kind of stinks outside of like 2 hitters in that team. Could it be Noah Cameron? Maybe.
I love how much these stress you out. It's so fun.
Well, I want to get it correct. I want to be accurate, and I could just throw out a name. Let's see if the chat is throwing out names. The chat's chiming in and helping out from the audience. Okay, I'm going to say that you're going to have some Kershaw. He's playing the White Sox. He's going to get his 3,000 strikeout. He's probably going to get the W. You don't need those points. With Kershaw, you kind of need them. You kind of need those 4 points to get to 20 or so. I'm going to say Kershaw. Enough of a discount. I'm saying Kershaw's in your pool. Oh, jeez. You don't care about history?
No feeling there. He's going to pitch maximum 80 pitches. So not going there for me.
But you can like go 7 innings against the White Sox in 80 pitches.
The White Sox, no, you can't. The White Sox aren't that bad. Like, they aren't good, but they're not that bad.
Is that what I mean? If you see that in the back of a book,
I'm not playing the White
are
Sox.
you buying that book? not as terrible as you thought they were.
Actually, that's a lie. I probably will play some White Sox because they're so cheap. But I'm not endorsing the White Sox as much as I am endorsing not playing Kershaw.
Okay. Let me see who's like the cheap option. I wonder if you're going to play some Gomber at 4-2, which seems really goofy. But in theory, any starting pitcher you can play at 4-2. I don't think you're playing Fuentes. Tidwell's 5K, but he's been a disaster so far. Okay. You know what? I'm going to say Cameron. Did I say Kikuchi? Of course, Kikuchi. Did I say Kikuchi?
Kikuchi is in the pool. Cameron is in the pool. You nailed both of them. I will also say that the pool's at 9, not 8 anymore. So the pool is at 9.
Is Hunter Brown now in the pool?
No. But
he can't play in the pool, but 9 other guys can.
A free guess on that because I added to the pool. So now we're back even.
Okay. Bybee, maybe, but probably not. You know what? You might play some. Let's see. Every once in a while, Barrios kind of flashes, and he has an upside with just kind of sticking around. He'll eat some innings. Let's see the Yankee lineup, how strikeout prone it is. You got Stanton in there. You got Jazz in there, Dominguez and Volpe. Judge is incredible power, but he'll strike out too. I think you have a little bit of a homerism, and I don't think it's the worst play to have Jose Barrios in your 150. So I'm going to say Jose Barrios. Well. And
you lose.
Yeah. So what? Now we go to the other team. I don't know who that other team is, but the audience, chat, who am I missing? Who did I miss, chat? Let me know. Okay. Who do we just sneak in the pool?
2 cheap options, 2 guys cheaper than all the guys you've gotten right in the pool so far. So Landon Roop is there. Even though I love Arizona today, Roop has been quite solid. He's sub 7K, not projecting for very much ownership. And then the other one is Austin Gomber. I am not a Houston believer. I'm not a Gomber believer either, but he's 4.2K. And so if I can build a lineup where I can play Logan Gilbert, Austin Gomber, and then I can still play Ohtani, Judge, and Cal Raleigh or Acuna if I want to, I'm all for it.
Did we get a Houston lineup just yet? I don't think we have, right? But I assume it's going to be, obviously Pena being
I'm not on Cheese's level of Houston hater, but I don't think they're as good as their record suggests.
Yeah, I've been hating Houston all season long too. It's another, not to say like I want to jump on the bandwagon, but I'm sure people have heard me besmirch the Astros, and how Jordan Alvarez might get shut down again. What a mess. The handling of the Tucker situation. But it's just, they have a team total close to 7 because, and she's even wrote about it, like bad, like kind of soft tossing lefties is the one pitcher they line up good against, even though they don't have immense power, but they're in cores. And we'll talk about this more with tiers, I suppose. Paredes looks awesome. Cam Smith in a really, really small sample, the rookie, looks amazing against lefties. That's probably going to go down. They have not faced a lot of lefties all year, to be clear. If you look at their bats, they've faced much more righties. Christian Walker has been a disaster versus lefties this season. He's got to be better than what the numbers are right now. Caratini in a really small sample. He bunged it out last night. We're projecting both catchers to be in there once again. Anything as far as umpire data? The people love that, right? Do we have any sort of extremes when it comes to the umps? I don't think so, right? Yeah, no extremes.
Not at all.
When it comes to umpires. I'm going to give another refresh here on our projections. Do want to see if we're changing anything at all, because I still want to see. I think our ownership stuff's going to change because we had some of those cheap openers essentially getting some ownership, which I think is going to fall back. All right. So they got to figure it out. Bernardino, 22 pitches. Brazoban, 27 pitches. They currently have 17% ownership each. That's going to change. that for sure is going to change. It's going to reflect the expectation now that they are essentially openers. But I'm happy to see that they've lined up with my thought process and the thought process of the bat as well. Anything else you want to say as far as pitchers before we delve into some tiers?
Nope, that would be it from me in terms of pitchers. Big stand is I plan on fully fading Hunter Brown, at least as of right now. And then other than that, I'll just be getting a ton of Logan Gilbert, mixing and matching on the other guys on my pool. So Mizorowski, Kelly, Imanaga, Warren, Kikuchi, Cameron, Roop, and even a touch of 4.2K Austin Gomez.
TJ, you essentially made our tiers board, so I'll let you introduce our tiers board. Well, I'll just say that I kind of threw the.
Oh, I don't know what the official rankings was. I thought I was leaving that to you after helping sort name.
I was just. I thought what you sent me was what you wanted, and I was like, oh, there you go.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Sorry, I was more of doing it as like a preliminary idea, but then you were like, well, this has to be one. So I was like, okay, Dean's got it.
Oh no, okay.
Let's make it right now.
Okay. So have you officially like built the board or no? Or is it still fluid, just like your pitcher pool?
It's fluid. I have the names ready to be added. I have all the teams scrolled at the bottom. I just got to type the names in.
So it is the delightful Margot Robbie. It's her birthday today. Shout out to her. She's turning 35, and we were going to power rank Margot Robbie movies, and I had trouble like thinking of some terrible ones. So you have to have some bad ones in the bottom 5. 4 can be kind of fringy. Doesn't have to be that bad, watchable, that kind of thing. You made a board, and you initially put, which I agree with, Wolf of Wall Street in number 1. And then we're trying to figure out, like, you're like, oh, what goes in 4? And I'm like, well, it can't be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because that's also a 1. I wasn't saying put that in 1.
Oh, that makes
Either
sense.
one of those are a 1. Either one of those are a 1. Whichever you want to pick, by all means, they're 1s. Chat, let us know. Margot Robbie, give us a bad movie, a good movie, a placement. Duncan says Suicide Squad in 5, and that is what you have. You had. Now she's made 2 different ones. Like, didn't she make?
To be very clear, it's confusing. I know.
Yeah.
The Suicide Squad, very good movie. Suicide Squad, absolutely terrible movie.
And isn't there a different one where it's like kind of like her character is the lead?
It's called Birds of Prey. That's all. That also is a good movie.
DeAndre Ayton to the Lakers, by the way. Is that an upgrade? He is the definition of, good in the box score, terrible as far as helping you win. He can give you like 19 and 7 and like not help you in any way. But I guess good for they would have been much better if they got Horford. Allegedly Horford they were after as well. But okay. I don't think that's going to be great for them, but they don't have anybody. So I suppose he's better than the nonsense they had. Maybe. TJ?
He'll be good at setting some screens and maybe catching a lob or 2 from Luka, but that's about it.
Is he known as a good screen setter? I don't know.
He's 7 feet tall, so he better be. When you're 7 and
well, you better learn.
Like, he's big and strong. He better be good at setting screens.
You better learn.
That to me is forever the funniest NBA draft. Like, we've talked a little bit about NBA drafts lately because we just hit one where everybody knew Luka Doncic was the best player in the draft. He was a kid who was playing in the best league in all of Europe, and he won MVP. And everyone's like, he didn't play against Creighton, though, so who knows if he's actually good. And not only did they pick DeAndre Ayton over him, but also Marvin Bagley is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous stuff.
Well, Atlanta drafted Luka and then traded him away.
Yeah.
For the rights for Trae Young. The Triple J went 4, by the way. Luka, Triple J, Trae Young. Yeah. I just pulled it up right now. It's funny looking back. SGA, by the way, going 11. 11. And he was drafted by Charlotte, which I don't remember. I don't remember that.
Yeah, right.
And I guess immediately traded to LA. And we know how that ends. Okay, so back on track. I figured I saw some breaking news jump in the chat. Birds of Prey is also one of her Harley Quinn movies. But we have 1 and 5 sets. You put Barbie in the 2-hole. I'm not going to yell about that. The chat might yell
Barbie
about that.
2, Babylon 3, Amsterdam 4. For what it's worth, I have not seen Amsterdam. I've just heard some bad things. I can't imagine it's a worse movie than the first Suicide Squad, though. It had a stacked cast. Babylon, I feel like, is the absolute perfect number 3 because it's a big GPP risk reward type movie. People either
Huge budget.
adore Babylon and think it's like the definition of cinema, like 10 out of 10 films, so high quality, or you hate it. And there's very few people who feel anywhere in between. I thought it was really boring. But
it's 3 hours, I think.
I thought it was really boring, but also very visually stunning. And so I didn't really enjoy it, but I understand how some people do. But that's why I threw it in the 3.
I probably would have put it in 3 as well because I have good things to say about it and bad things to say about it. Focus being mentioned in the chat. That's a good movie with Will Smith. There's a gambling element to it as well. I'm not sure if you've seen Focus before. And I think that came out before she was like a big star. Like she's like, oh, who's she? And you kind of watch it afterwards now if she's a big star 10 years later or so. I think that's worth watching. The cast, by the way, you mentioned of Amsterdam, it is loaded. Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, Anya Taylor-Joy, Mike Myers is in it, Chris Rock's in it, Taylor Swift's in it, Rami Malek, Robert De Niro. Like you expected so much more. It was okay, but it was disappointing. So let's go ahead and settle on that board. No I, Tonya on that board. I, Tonya is a really good movie. That's a 2 or a 3, I think, about the Tonya Harding saga. Which did you care about that in Canada? Probably not. Do you know what the Tonya Harding deal is?
I've heard of it from the movie, but that was about it.
Okay, so you didn't know, and it's probably before your time as well. It was the Olympics in 94, 92, 96? Yeah, it's before your time, but that was a big deal in America at the time. Okay, let's go ahead and throw some teams and some tiers. We did just get the Astros, Paredes, Myers in the 2-hole, Altuve, Smith, Walker, Diaz, Hummel, Whitcomb, and DeBohm. I think Whitcomb is the guy, the 26-year-old who's got a lot of power in the minors, who was just called up. I guess they're not playing both catchers, right? Yeah, no Caratini. Whitcomb is DHing. I'm pretty sure this is the guy that was mashing in the minors. I do want to confirm. He hasn't done anything in his at-bats just yet in the majors, but there is some power there, and this does seem like a spot. Shea Whitcomb, 26 years old. I was looking. Yeah, he's got 19 homers this year in AAA and 6 stolen bases. Last season in AAA, 25 homers and 26 stolen bases. In the previous year, 35 and 20. A little bit older for the, so he should be beating up on, 19, 20-year-olds at 26. But what is Whitcomb's price? He could be an interesting cheapie. How much is he? He's 2.5, and he's second base and third base eligible. So I think he's going to be useful tonight on DK. All right, let's throw some teams in some tiers. We're going to start with the 707 starting Toronto Blue Jays. Jose Barrios going for first place, taking on Will Warren. The Yankees and the Blue Jays, basically a coin toss here according to Vegas. Where do you want to throw the Yankees and the Blue Jays on your board?
Not overly fond of either of these two teams today. I'm going to put them both in the 3-tier. Yankees, I was tempted to bump up to 2 just because they are the Yankees and that offense can be very, very dangerous. But Barrios is good. He's not great. He's fine. He's good. And I kind of just feel like both of these offenses are middle of the road today. Warren can give up some power, but he also strikes out a lot of guys. Blue Jays don't really strike out. So it's going to be interesting to see which one of those two sides prevail. Because if they're making contact, there's a good chance it's probably going to be getting hit pretty hard. And so I think both of these teams are very viable. I don't love either of these teams today, though. Lack of Bo Bichette really lowers things for the Blue Jays. He's been hitting the ball really well lately. And the back half of the lineup is just like not their A team. And so I like the top half of the Blue Jays stack, bottom half, not so much. And the more I actually look at the Blue Jays lineup, the more I like Will Warren as well.
Wasn't David Schneider kind of sort of some of the thing for a few months last year? I think he was, wasn't he? Am I making that up?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Okay.
But yes, and he's still sort of like he hits lefties really hard. He just strikes out a ton.
Yeah, let's pull that up, by the way. Since you referenced it, I want to see Warren versus lineup. 16.7% as far as Ks, but like you said, the power is, I don't want to say non-existent, but it's pretty rough.
When Will Wagner 64 at bats, Davis Schneider 18, Miles Straw 86,
Oof.
and like that Davis Schneider number is going to be going like 22% K rate. It'll be higher than that. And so like, yeah, there's not a lot of strikeouts, but you're really only worried about Springer, Guerrero, Kirk, and then Barger, and that's it.
Miles Straw has the biggest ISO amongst the four of them, which really says a lot because Miles Straw, very little punch in that bat. Okay, let's move on. Yankees and Toronto both in Babylon. Next up is Milwaukee. Milwaukee taking on the Mets. Jacob Mizorowski, Huskar Brazaban is the expected opener here. I did see, again, we don't currently have this listed, do we? We're expecting, at least DK is expecting, Tidwell to be the reliever, the long man, Blade Tidwell. I don't know if that's etched in stone or anything, but that's what I'm seeing as far as the expectations on DK. He has not pitched since the 27th, so I think that would make sense. This would kind of be his spot in the rotation. Yeah, Mets, Brewers. What do you got?
Don't love either of these teams today. On the Mets side of things, going up against Mizorowski, obviously we can see absolutely, which we just saw with Chase Burns the other day. These guys can all of a sudden just not have it figured out for a day because they're very young and haven't been doing it for too long. And we could see a Met stack just go off in that scenario. But in general, I don't really like it. On the Milwaukee side of thing, I guess maybe I like it a bit more, but it's still not a very good ballpark for bats, and Milwaukee's prices have gone up quite a bit. Like I really liked Sal Frelick as a play when I was paying $3,400 for him, less when I'm paying $43. So I'm gonna put both of these teams in tier 4, and I think I'm actually gonna bump the Blue Jays down to tier 4 as well, just because that lineup is really gross. And so we'll put the Brewers, Blue Jays, and Mets all in tier 4 today. You can play them. I'm not super thrilled about playing any of them though.
Worth noting, this is the back half of a doubleheader. The Brewers won the early game 7-2 on the back of Peralta. Their bullpen didn't work terribly hard. Mears and Hall. Holmes pitched there for the Mets. Garrett and Waddell. Waddell did the chunk of pitching, 3 innings, so probably not available tonight. Okay. Moving on, Cincinnati, Boston, they played a half a game earlier today, finishing up last night's game. Brennan Bernardino throwing baseballs against Nick Martinez. Boston has a team total closing in on 5. Pretty good temperature, 82 with the wind blowing out towards the monster left center. I want to see what Weather Edge has here. Let me give it a refresh, but I think it looks pretty good weather-wise there in Boston. Yeah, we got the fire emoji. In 108 previous games, Homer is only a 1% bump, but runs a 13% bump. And I'm looking at now, not necessarily toward the monster, but dead center. We're seeing the wind blowing, and center's tricky there in Boston. You can also get yourself an inside the park homer if you hit the right caddy corner. But yeah, good weather in Boston tonight. Nick Martinez, Brennan Bernardino. Who's going to be coming in after him? Is it Criswell is the expectation, but we don't know this for certain. Where are you going to throw Boston and Cincy?
Both of these teams, I think I'm going to be putting in tier 3 today. And tier 2 for Boston. No, I'm going to do it. Tier 3 for both of these guys. I like them about on the same tier as the Yankees. I think they are very viable stacks today, but they're not in either of my top 2 tiers. They're not going to be either of my top 2 highest owned. I prefer righties against Nick Martinez. He's a reverse splitsy pitcher, and the Red Sox are full of talented young lefties, but not a whole lot of righties there, especially while Bregman is still hurt. So I do like them, but I don't love them. And then on the Red side of things, don't love a bullpen game, but it is really good weather, and the Reds are a very boom or bust offense. They're typically either absolutely trash or really good, and that's fits in the Babylon tier because that's about how people feel about that movie. They either love it or they hate it.
Yeah, it's just get comfortable. I think it's 3 hours. I'm pretty sure it's a 3 hour, give or take a few minutes or so. All right. Next game up is the Angels. The Angels and the Braves. Didier Fuentes against Yusei Kikuchi. The Braves do have a team total just above 5. We talked about the weather being pretty good there in Atlanta. Let me take a peek as far as our most recent data on Weather Edge. Scrolling. Okay, yeah, we do have the fire emoji. Just an 11-game sample. 86th attempt, winds blowing out to dead center, 8 miles per hour. We've seen a spike in homers. I hate even saying it because it's 11 games. That's 66%. Do not expect that, but it is a good hitting environment, which is kind of, Kikuchi lives on the edges sometimes with his homers and his fly balls dying on the warning track. We have Profar making his debut this season, coming off his big old suspension. Kikuchi, the strikeouts there of late are on the season. Awesome versus lefties, 30.1%. There's only 2 lefties in this lineup here for Atlanta, Olsen and Harris. They've been benching Michael Harris left on left of late. I'm not sure if you noticed that. It's been a rough season for him. But he is in the lineup today. Sometimes they'll put like Eli White or something like that in there. Fuentes, we haven't seen much of him. What we've seen so far, it's been bad. The Angels do have some pop, but they also strike out a fair bit. Where are we putting the Braves and the Halos?
Really like both of these offenses today. I'm going to throw both of them in tier 2. Really good hitting weather, not good pitchers pitching for either of these two teams. I like Kikuchi's fine, but he's just like the prototypical awesome DFS on both sides type pitcher, right? He's a high strikeout guy, so you can always play him, and he gives up a lot of power, so you can always play against him. And so I like the Braves targeting him today. Ronald Acuna is maybe my favorite bat on the slate. We do have Spidey Bum number 2 scrolling at the bottom. Ketel Marte number 1. Corey Seager number 2. I was going to go Acuna here, but just Ali Seager's cheap. I didn't want to go like 2 super expensive DFS plays that I'm feeling are great. I wanted to go someone a little bit cheaper. So Ketel Marte, Corey Seager for the Spidey Bums, but Acuna might be my favorite play on the entire slate. I also did bet him to hit a home run today. Maybe would have them as a tier 3 stack if I didn't love him so much. But that bumps them up to tier 2 for me. And then the Angels, they are fairly inexpensive. Outside of Zach Neto, Mike Trout is still $1,000 too cheap. Taylor Ward is $1,000 too cheap. Joe Adell is $800 too cheap. I like these guys a lot today. Fuentes is nobody I'm scared of whatsoever. So both of these teams in tier 2, I like them both a lot.
Yeah, I like the idea of playing some Atlanta. I like the idea of playing some Kikuchi. Like, I think it's one of those, like you said, kind of be over on both sides of that and lead into outliers. We've seen outliers in his direction the last 3 starts. 12 strikeouts last time out against Boston, 9 strikeouts last time out against the second to last time out against Houston. And before that, 10, 9, 10, and 12. A massive spike in his strikeouts. We've seen that, that is in his bag. That's something he can do. But the other part of it is he's kind of pitching over his head, 2.54 ERA, and good for him. But the Sierra is close to double that at 4.81. Lucky homer on the fly ball at 8.9%. Really lucky lob left on base at 87%. Super lucky, BABIP. I'm looking at I'm sorry. I was looking at Imanaga's BABIP at 209. But yeah, Kikuchi left on base is 81%. Homer on the fly ball 10%. So it's Kikuchi by 4.19 Sierra. They're right next to each other in my grid. I don't know why I was reading those. I got lost reading them across the board. But yeah, Kikuchi this season 2.79 ERA, 4.16 Sierra, 4.10 xFIP, and the walks are also kind of dicey in the double digits at 10.7%. One of the higher numbers on the board as well. Let's scoot along here, TJ. Next game up, it's Sagano throwing baseballs against Nathan Eovaldi. We did get Jake Berger. Jake Berger is back for Texas. They kicked Young. Young is off the team. I think he's in the minor leagues. Josh Young. He's not officially out of the organization, but they're throwing him down there to figure some stuff out. We talked about this last night about Baltimore having to be Gary Sanchez as their primary catcher. It didn't work out. I watched that game. There was a lot of pass balls. And who knows whose fault is what, but he's just not known to be a good receiver. They do have Jacob Stallings catching today. So maybe that helps Sagano, like a veteran catcher. Of course, he's not helping there with the stick. But Rangers and Nathan Eovaldi against Zagato and the Orioles. Rangers are the favorite here at -148. I assume the roof is closed. I will confirm. But where are you at as far as these two offenses?
Yeah, I like the Rangers quite a bit today just because of how cheap they are. And so I'm going to go ahead and, why can't I find them? There they are. Throw the Rangers up in tier 2. Big fan of them. Most expensive player on the team is 4K, Josh Smith. Corey Seager is, while Acuna is my favorite play on the slate, I would say Corey Seager is the best play on the slate. $3,800 on DraftKings is just obscene. He should be $5,800. I'm going to be heavily overweight on Corey Seager, even though he's going to be moderate chalk. And I do like this stack in its entirety just because they are so cheap. And you know what? I'm actually going to pop them up in the first tier because the more I look at them, the more I realize like I'm going to be getting a lot of this team today. Baltimore, I'm going to put into tier 3. This would usually be a tier 4 team, borderline a tier 5 team if we knew we were getting a fully healthy, locked-in Nathan Eovaldi. He got roughed up quite a bit in his first start. And so just in case he's not quite right yet, and it's going to take him a while to knock some of that rust off, I am going to put Baltimore in tier 3.
Yeah, first start back for Eovaldi. He was out for a month or so. He gave up, 3 runs in 3 innings, couple walks, couple Ks, 45 pitches, like just unrosterable if you're considering rostering him. Doesn't make any sense. Still not stretched out here, and you're not getting any discount as far as the price, and I don't mind picking on him a little bit with Baltimore. Okay, we have 5 more games to go. Crunch time's coming on in about 10, 15 minutes or so. I believe it is Kevin Roth going to be there? Is Roth going to be on Crunch Time or no?
Kevin Roth, Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood, and Erik Beimfohr. Same crew as yesterday.
There you go. Running it back. Returning champions. 5 games to go. Next one up, it's the Guardians. The Guardians are in Chicago, taking on Shota Imanaga, another guy that came back, off his injury break. Looked really, really good. Looked really stellar. They subdued his pitch count. They subdued his innings, but he looked spectacular in what he was able to do in 5 innings. I think he had 1 hit and 1 run. I think we're adding like 10 or 15 or so pitches to his allotted pitch count. So not fully stretched out, but kind of, sort of, somewhat there. But you're also getting a bit of a discount at 8.5. So I think he's very much in play. Tanner Bybee on the other side for Cleveland. Where do you want to throw the Cubbies and the Guardians?
Going to throw the Guardians all at the bottom in Suicide Squad, our first team in tier 5. They just kind of suck, and I have no interest in playing them against Shota Imanaga. So no Guardians for me today. Going to be fully fading them outside of maybe Jose Ramirez. I'm going to put the Cubs all the way up in tier 1. I love me some Cubby stacks today. Tanner Bybee is pretty solid to those righties. He struggles to lefties. He has for the last 2 years. And so I just love anytime the Cubs face a right-handed guy who give up a lot of power to lefties. Throws the ball right down the middle of the plate, and when you're having to do that to Tucker and PCA and Michael Busch, sorry. Big fan of that. Love me some Cubs today. I'm throwing them all the way up in tier 1.
Are you a NASCAR guy? How did Kyle Busch sneak in there?
I am not a NASCAR guy, but I was looking at Kyle Tucker's name as I was saying Michael Busch.
All right. By the way, yeah, I missed this earlier, but Kyle Raleigh, big dumper, taking the day off. He's constipated because he's not in the lineup. Does that boost up Noah Cameron to you at all? I know we talked about Cameron being, the absence of Kyle Raleigh. We'll talk about Seattle in a second. 7 total in that game. Gilbert, of course, on the other side. But let's scoot along. It's the Astros. They are in Coors. They're taking on the Rockies. 11 total. Hunter Brown on the bump, close to a 7 total for the Astros. It's a monster number. We don't necessarily love these pieces for Houston, but soft tossing lefty. This is the spot. You'd have to think this is a spot where their collection of righties. We talked earlier about Shea Whitcomb. At least in the minors, he's been awesome. Cup of coffee has not done much so far in the majors, but he's super cheap. He's got position versatility as well. Second and third, if you don't want to pay all the way up for Jose Altuve, the diminutive second baseman, of course, once upon a time, annihilated baseballs versus lefties, not necessarily the lefty masher he once was. Yeah, Astros, Rockies. How do we feel about Coors today?
Gonna drop them just out of the top because of the ownership and because I love a mini stack and I don't really like the full stack of Houston today. And so I'll be underweight on the full stack. Yes, they're the top raw point stack overall, though, and so that's why they're still up top in tier 2 and Barbie, just not quite in the Wolf of Wall Street tier. I have Houston in 2, and then on the Rockies side of things, no one's going to play them. It's Coors, and Brown's going to be very highly owned, so that's enough to take them out of the bottom tier and bump them up into tier 4.
Who would be your favorite individual Rocky if you had to just pick off a one-off? Is it just Hunter Goodman?
I think it's always Hunter Goodman, but if not Goodman, then probably McMahon or Beck.
Yeah. I don't know if you necessarily have to roster Rockies. I'm just kind of trying to think. The numbers.
I'm probably not going to do it personally. They're just like, they're not as cheap as they had been.
Yeah. I was trying to get the Goodman last night. I'm like, man, he's so expensive. It turns out he was a bargain. He was an absolute bargain if you got to Goodman last night. Okay, moving along. 3 more games. I don't think we have lineups for either team just yet. That's Arizona and San Fran. Maybe we see Josh Naylor come back tonight. We saw last night he was initially in the lineup, then he got the hook after some warm-ups, some pregame workout stuff. But maybe he'll be back. We shall see. Merrill Kelly against Landon Roop. Almost a 4 total for San Fran. Devers has been an absolute disaster so far. Not ready to panic, but they say he's dealing with the groin, so maybe that's part of it. Maybe they're just trying to give him something just so we feel better about it. Striking out a lot too. It's not that he's been unlucky; he's just missing baseballs. Giants, Arizona. What do you got?
Giants, I have no interest in playing today against Merrill Kelly, and so I'm going to drop them into tier 5. The Diamondbacks and Cubs, I admittedly kind of always have a soft spot for. They're 2 of my favorite teams to play in DFS. Even if Josh Naylor is not there, that just makes the lineup even cheaper. If this was in San Francisco, I'd probably have them in tier 4 or 5. In Arizona, I got the Diamondbacks all the way up at 2.
Arizona at 2, San Fran in the gutter there, Suicide Squad. That's also a Will Smith movie, right? Was he in Suicide Squad, Will Smith?
He was.
Yeah. He was
not in the Suicide Squad, but
which was the better version.
Yeah, the better version, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. 2 more games to go. Again, crunch time coming in 5-ish, 10 minutes, depending on when they're fully assembled. The Royals, Kansas City Royals, are in Seattle, taking on Logan Gilbert, who's been outrageous this year. Career high Ks, career high swinging strike rate. Awesome ballpark to throw baseballs in. Really hard ballpark to get the ball out of the umbrella that is in Seattle. We did mention just a few minutes ago that Big Dumper, no Kyle Rowley, not playing baseball for Seattle, significantly weakens their lineup. I guess that's Mitch Garver doing the catching. Crawford, J-Rod, Arozarena, Solano is DHing, Polanco, Garver, Moore, Williamson, and Cole Young cracked the lineup. I think it's pretty standard for KC. India, Witt, Vinny P, Garcia, Sal Perez, big game last night. Caglione, the rookie who's still not quite getting there. Waters, Fermin, and Isbell. I don't think we like the offenses here in Seattle. You tell me otherwise.
Nope, not at all. Kansas City, I'm going to put in tier 5. Suicide Squad, not going to be playing any of them. Seattle, I'm going to put in 4. I don't want to play any of the full stacks, but Randy Rosarina, I think, is very much in play going up against the lefty. He's been smashing the ball lately, one of the hottest hitters in baseball. I think you can pair him in a mini stack with 2 of Solano, Garver, Moore, and Rodriguez.
It gets tough. It gets tough after a couple names.
Yeah,
right?
But at least it gives you a cheap Garver in there. And he's typically in his career been fine against lefties. So playable, but I don't like them. Tier 4 for the Mariners, tier 5 for the Royals, because I'm not going to be playing them at all.
When Garver was on Minnesota, he was, some would say, not everybody, but some would say he was lefty masher when he was on Minnesota. I'm pulling it up now. Now I'm curious if he's a lefty masher this season specifically. Let's see. Let's see what we have so far this year versus lefties. A 87 ISO, which is not good. That's not good at all. What was last season? 218 last season, which is that's higher. So it's really dummy proof. Green is good, red is bad. If you pull up the plate IQ, Makes your life much easier. And the greener it is too. It's like if it's really, really good, it's like super green. If it's really bad, it's quite red. Last game, we just got the Dodgers, so good timing.
Sorry to derail us a little bit here, but what do you think DeAndre Ayton is making next year?
So he was bought out, right?
Yeah.
I think he was. I would imagine it's like $5 million. I don't think it's a lot. He stinks. I don't think he was paid a lot of money, and I think the teams know that he's just.
Oh, there it is. Between Portland and LA. Okay.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
Yeah.
Never mind. Ignore me. It's probably fine.
Well, does the chat?
It's $34 million he's going to make next year, but I thought that's what he just signed with LA to, and I was like, oh my goodness, but I misread it.
No,
that's between Portland and LA.
Yeah, I don't know what the divvying up is, like 80-20 or something like that, but I'd imagine. I think LA only had so much money too, and if they had more, they probably would have got Horton. I think if he was interested. Ohtani is leading off here for LA. Banged another homer out last night. Betts, Smith, Freeman, Pajes, Muncy, Conforto, Edman, Kim draws another start. That means there's no Teoscar Hernandez there in the Dodgers lineup. We do have the White Sox lineup. It's bad. This is the lineup going up against Clayton Kershaw, who's going for his 3,000th career strikeout. Is he the last pitcher that's going to get 3,000 strikeouts? How about that for a question? Who's next? Who's next in line? Is Justin Verlander past it? Let's Google this while we have time until we see crunch time jumping in. I'm going to Google that while you give me the analysis as far as the Dodgers and the White Sox.
Yeah, I would assume Verlander has already passed that, but Dodgers clear number one for me today. Absolutely love the Dodgers. It's a reason why I'm taking a shot on a few of these cheap pitchers today because I want to get my Ohtani and everybody else that I can. Andy Pajes batting fifth today. Really love this spot for him. Other side, the White Sox, I'm going to put them in tier 3. I like using the White Sox more than I feel like most people do when they come on this show, but they're just so stupidly cheap. They're kind of like a Texas Light, where I do like Texas a lot better, but you can do the same things with the White Sox as you can do with the Rangers today, and that is play Logan Gilbert, play Ohtani, play Judge, etc., etc.
All right, TJ, I'll recap the board here in a second, but here we go. Verlander, the most active strikeouts, 34.71. Scherzer, 34.19. Kershaw, 3 away from 3,000. Next up, 25-28, Chris Sale. He's in distance. He's got a shot.
Oh, yeah, he definitely has a shot.
Yes, it's health. It's all about health, obviously. Either Kershaw or Sale might be the last guy. Cole at 22.51, maybe Cole.
No,
Tommy John,
no way.
Probably not, but maybe. He's signed for like the next 5 years, isn't he? Don't think he's having for like. Well, I think they paid a ton of money. Some funny name, Charlie Morton. 49-year-old Charlie Morton has got 21. Probably not going to get there. Darvish at 2,000. Gausman, Nola, Sonny Gray. Patrick Corbin, 11th all-time active, 1794. Probably not going to get there.
He was really good.
Yeah. He got paid by Washington, and then all of a sudden wasn't so great. But there's nobody else, right? I don't think anybody's – well, I mean, depending on health and whatever schemes, maybe you can get to 3,000. That's so far in the distance, and – it's unlikely just with the way pitchers go down with these injuries because they're doing an unnatural.
I had last night. I might do it.
You're going to do it. You're going to start tomorrow. You're going to get to 3,000.
Yeah, I'm remembering parts of this dream as we go along too, where people ask me like, "Wow, like how do you do it? How do you pitch like that?" And I just be like, "Oh, I don't really know how I grip it. I just kind of hold the ball and do a little twist with my hand." And just like the parts of as I'm remembering more of this dream, I remember more of just like how ridiculous it was.
Do you remember what team you were playing for? Were you in the majors?
No, it was like an MLB The Show style. Like it was like a combine just for me. Where it was like a pro day. Everybody was coming to see me.
Let's recap the board. Crunch time should be here in a few minutes. If you're joining us late, we power ranked Margot Robbie movies. It is her birthday today, so shout out to her. Wolf of Wall Street is tier number 1. That's Texas, Chicago, the Dodgers. Tier 2 is Barbie. That's the Angels, Atlanta, Houston, Arizona. Right smack in the middle is Babylon. It's Boston, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Chicago, and the Yankees. Amsterdam is the 4th tier movie. Milwaukee, Toronto, the Mets, the Rockies, Seattle, and all the way at the bottom, it is Suicide Squad. We have Cleveland, the Giants, and the Royals. TJ, Spidey Bombs. Where are we at as far as Spidey Bombs?
We got 2 already scrolling. Ketel Marte and Corey Seager plus 625 and plus 300. We are still 23 likes away from the next one at 150 likes.
TJ, if I wanted to get RG Premium, what's the best way you suggest we go about doing that?
I'm not doing your ad read for you.
I thought you have to read it. I don't have the read right in front of me.
I'm not doing the read for you.
Do the read. Come on.
I'm hosting for you tomorrow. I got to do the read then. You do the read.
In the plates. Well, you know what? Roth's going to do the read when he jumps on. Roth will knock it out. I don't want to go back-to-back as far as the reads. All right, so you want to give me your boldest stand? I know Crunch Time's coming here in just a second. But your boldest stand, you're making 150. Your hottest take. I guess your boldest stand is probably not playing Hunter Brown at all. Is that your boldest stand?
Yeah, that's my boldest stand. Is I'm not going to play Hunter Brown today, and I'm going to load up on Logan Gilbert and mix and match some cheaper SP2s. No Hunter Brown for me. No other like super big stands. I'll probably be a little underweight on Houston, overweight on the Dodgers. I like the Cubs a lot for an offense. Texas is my favorite cheap one. That's about it.
All right, let's do it. Crunch Time, they are fully assembled. We got Dave Potts, CheeseIsGood, Erik Beimfohr, as well as Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. Let's bring Crunch Time right now. TJ confirmed, not a team player. I was trying to set you up for the alley-oop, and like DeAndre Ayton, you just fumbled it right out of bounds.
You weren't setting him up for the alley-oop. You were throwing him the ball when there was 1 second left on the shot clock and hoping he would bail you out.
Yeah, that was like you just threw a pass to me over the middle when the safety was just licking his jaw.
Yeah.
What do they call those, medicine balls? Is that what it is? Is that what that's called?
Hospital balls?
Hospital.
What? Hospital balls. Yeah, all right, fair enough.
The Derek Carr.
Are like those exercise things you use.
Also known as a Derek Carr, yes.
The Derek Carr.
Derek Carr finally took himself out of the game before he took other players out of the game with him.
Chris Olave wishes he would have retired many years ago.
Shout out to Derek Carr for hurting himself outside of football activities so that the Saints can get rid of him while paying him less money.
Was it Steve Smith? Who was the one that was tweeting through it? When was it Steve Smith who was very angry about
Yes.
Derek Carr? Yes, I think that's what it was. He was very upset with where Derek
Jerry
Carr was
Jeudy
putting the
and
ball.
Derek Carr are not high on the. They're not getting Christmas cards from Steve Smith. Let's just say that much.
Derek Carr and Jerry Jeudy are falling off a cliff. Who was he reaching for first, Eric?
Neither. He's walking away laughing, I think.
All right. Shout out to Roth yesterday. Awesome call on the Boston game. Got me away from Boston. I have some unders pending. I'm not sure. I didn't read the terms of service, but I have some unders pending on the pitching stuff still. The game was finished today. Like, just pay the man. What do you mean that we went under? I don't know why they won't pay it out here, Roth. I did not read the terms of service and the fine print, but if nothing else, we'll get our money back. But betting those pitchers under was a fabulous. You were talking about the show yesterday, so shout out to you. So hopefully some people got paid, and hopefully I'll get paid as well. Anything else? How are things? Everything all right there, Roth?
Yeah, things are good. Hammer pointing out I'm the best weatherman in the business, also the only one. So, makes it easy. One of one.
Yeah. You are one of one.
Yep.
Some tried, though, to be fair. Some did try it. It's, you come with the king, you best not miss. And you know what? They missed.
Yeah, they fell
missed.
off. They can't hang,
What happened? Yeah, what happened? What happened?
Well, somebody just regurgitated your article, right? Basically, just
That was my favorite. Yeah, just copy paste every time. It was good stuff.
TJ,
I'm surprised you're so
around.
confident today, Roth, when yesterday you tweeted out that you were washed.
You took that way out of context. It was way out of context, TJ.
TJ, I guess I'm going away. Everybody else is going to stick around. You're going to go behind the proverbial glass, but I'm going to jump out of here and make some lineups. But Crunch Time's going to start here with Dave Potts. You got Erik Beimfohr, Roth holding it down. TJ going behind the glass. Roth is going to give you the best ad read in the business. Certainly the best ad read on this show. Without even a conversation. Also, one of one. Roth, take it away.
Good stuff as always. Welcome to it, ladies and gents. You know the drill. It's crunch time with two of the sharpest minds in the biz. Running it back to back on him. Dave Potts, Cheese is good in the house. What up, Cheese?
Not too much. Another pretty good slate. I was back to back with Eric is always good because he usually says good thing. We don't have Jeffrey Springs to worry about tonight. We don't need those 7 points tonight. So it'll be fine.
Glad to hear that. Shout out to Brian in the chat who would like to point out not only am I the best in the biz, I'm also the worst in the business. Which That is
I didn't
true.
want to say anything, but yeah,
I can't
it is
argue
what
that.
it is.
Beimfohr just absolutely with the guns out. What I mean, am I allowed to? No, I'm gonna rip my shirt trying.
If we run it back tomorrow, he's gonna be just shirtless, like he's just
Exactly.
bearing down as we go.
progressively
I think-
stripping.
Yeah, this is a strip crunch time. Tomorrow we'll remove the hat. And then if we can make it on to Friday, we'll pop the shirt off and really get things going. I don't think anybody wants to see that.
Yeah, I plan to not be here if that's happening.
This is the sport. Yeah, TJ's gonna have to host on Friday if that happens.
Hey, we got some weather to talk about, and that is that there is no weather to talk about. I like the hitting in Colorado. I liked the hitting elsewhere. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Atlanta. That was the other spot. Atlanta, Colorado. Those are probably my two favorite spots for bats. That's pretty much it. I was bummed, Cheese, that they didn't resume that game last night because it all went as it was supposed to go, and then they just threw it.
And did you watch long enough to know, like, could they have gone ahead and played if they wanted to? Like
I tuned out a little bit, and then I tuned back in, and the rain was gone. And I was like, I'm not exactly sure when this happened, but it feels like they could have finished that game.
So it was kind of glorious. Like sometimes I complain about, and rightfully so, like I'm on this show, so I can't change my lineup to do what I want to do. But last night it worked out because like I took all those guys out. And then in the show, I was like, I probably would have put even a few more back in. So it actually, you guys saved me by listening to me ramble. So it worked out fine.
I'm glad it worked out. There's no way people are getting paid on the pitcher unders though, right? The game suspended.
I don't know what they do on that.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like there's a 0% chance they pay out on that, but we will find out after the game, I suppose. The game's probably already over.
It's over.
Yeah.
Over, yep.
So Dean, if you don't have the money in your account, you're not getting paid out on those unders. Let's talk about the slate outside of the weather stuff. Cheese, you can lead us off. What do you like here pitcher wise?
All right. So Logan Gilbert's the chalk, pretty heavy chalk. And I would say he's one of those guys, like where he's priced, there's really no reason not to play him other than you can make the case that like a ceiling game is really not that likely. Like, he's probably not going to get back to 100 pitches. It's his third start off the IL. I don't think he's really limited. I think he gets his 90 pitches. But, it's a low strikeout matchup. He's probably not realistically as elite as he's looked this year with strikeout. So you can make the case that he's going to be just good and not great. But on this slate, like the 20 DraftKings points and the 35 FanDuel points, which would be just kind of like a
solid,
like that's fine. I think that's perfectly good enough. There's plenty of reasons to think that you don't get buried for not having him. Like if he's 60% owned and he puts up 20 DraftKings points, I mean, whatever, you can win other ways. So like, I'm not like all in on him in tournaments, but he's clearly the top guy. And there's not that much reason not to play him, especially on DraftKings. It's pretty hard to find two other guys that you think beat him. Hunter Brown is super interesting. It's in Coors Field, which is obviously why he's not as popular as Logan Gilbert, but it is like, he is the right kind of pitcher to face the Rockies in Coors. I do like him.
And by that, you mean what? He's like, he'll miss bats.
He gets basically the strikeouts and the ground balls.
Okay.
Like that's what you want. Strikeouts and ground balls. So like, he's good and I like him, but I do prefer Gilbert. I do have them paired together in some lineups. I don't have any Jacob Mizorowski at 10-5. I don't have any on FanDuel either. He's a little cheaper. I understand if you want to play him because he has been good, but if you really look under the surface, he hasn't been that good. Like, he's been the luckiest pitcher so far to exist through 3 starts. An 0.69 BABIP. I mean, I would be a great major league pitcher if I got an 0.69 BABIP. That's just how it works. It's fluke. He's still walking guys like he was.
I'd like to see that happen.
I would too. If you could guarantee me an 0.69 BABIP, like I could succeed. It's wild, but that's actually what that means. I could find my way to the strike zone at 38 miles an hour, and with that BABIP, I would be okay. The White Sox would sign me tomorrow.
You'd be their ace tomorrow.
Yeah, probably. So I'm totally out on Mizorowski. You're allowed to play him if you want to spend up to be different. I I have a couple of Merrill Kelly on DraftKings, but he's kind of like where he's priced. Like that's where, just play Gilbert. Like it's kind of silly. The guy that I'm most intrigued by, and I'm curious what happens. It appears as if nobody other than me is playing Yusei Kikuchi. A guy who's struck out, I forget the number, like 30 plus batters in his last 3 starts. I think he's been unbelievable, and it's only 3 starts, and he looked like he was kind of nonsense before then. And I have no idea who he is right now. I just know that if I don't believe he's only be 5% owned, but he might only be 15, and he has a higher ceiling than Gilbert for sure. A much lower floor, but higher ceiling, absolutely. I love him. Like he's my highest owned pitcher. Him and Gilbert are close. I'm not sure, but I love Kikuchi, and I hope that the ownership numbers are right. And they might be. Projections don't like him because they're looking at the longer term stuff, as they should. But yeah, I think he's absolutely fantastic, even if that ownership is like 15%. Mm-hmm. I've got a little Shota Imanaga. Like he's another one of those, not much realistic ceiling, but he'll be fine. And then the rest of the mid tier, I'm not playing. Like they're all okay. You could do Barrios or Noah Cameron or Will Warren or Bybee or Kershaw. They're all like fine. But I just prefer Kikuchi. And then it needs to be said that Austin Gomber is $4,200. And he is facing a bad baseball team. Now that bad baseball team is playing in Coors Field, and they're actually not that bad against lefties. So I am not recommending to you to play Austin Gomber. Like he has a floor of like -15 and a ceiling of like 12. But I think the 12 is more likely than the -15, and he's $4,200.
Yeah, if he gets you the 12 at 4,200, you're feeling really good.
Yeah.
Okay. As far as ownership goes, right, Gilbert is going to be high owned. Hunter Brown will be fairly high owned. And then after that, it's just kind of a hodgepodge, and you prefer Kikuchi out of as your third.
Exactly. We don't have anyone other than those two projected over 17%. And I think it all gets pretty spread out after them.
Yeah. Okay. Beimfohr, what are you doing a pitcher?
Not a lot different. I'll say I only had Austin Gomber is not in.
Eric just said not a lot different.
Pool.
He's lock buttoning Gomber. Is this what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm. Not a lot different, except no Austin Gomber. For I think the first time this year, I have interest in the Houston Astros. We'll get there.
I get it. We'll get there.
Yeah. They also we'll get there. It is Hunter Brown, Logan Gilbert, Kikuchi, and Imanaga for me. Again, for full transparency, I am more of a single entry, 3 entry max, like handful of lineups kind of guy. I'm focusing in on those 4. If I can get both Hunter Brown and Logan Gilbert, awesome. If I can't, I do prefer Kikuchi, as Cheese outlined. The full case, I have long been a Yusei Kikuchi slappy. It has gone well at times, and it has gone terribly, terribly wrong at other times, and that really is the Yusei Kikuchi experience. I'm terrified of it. Let me just say this. I think so. I don't have, I'm not a total pitching genius, but I have access to fangraphs.com like everybody else does. And what you see when you look at the recent surge is an astronomical surge in his curveball usage and very little fastball usage, meaning and that's kind of when he's been good. He has wicked off-speed stuff and breaking stuff. He really does. It's just, when you're throwing mediocre fastball stuff and he loses control frequently. That's been his downfall over the years. And so then you rely on a mediocre right? When you can't locate the curveball or the slider or the changeup, you rely on a mediocre fastball. Well, what happens, right? You walk guys and then you give up power. He has been better in both of those regards lately. And I think we're seeing that kind of like, that's amazing. We're seeing that kind of like wicked breaking stuff. And I'm willing to buy in, like at this price and this ownership, 5% and 7,700 on DraftKings. Like, look, if we get the blow up game, whatever. Like, I'm willing to live with that, because I think the upside is like, no, this is real, and this guy is incredible. This guy should be the 10K pitcher. on this slate. I think that's in the range of outcomes, and so I'm willing to take that shot. If you don't feel that comfortable, I do think Imanaga is like the very, very, very boring version of the Kikuchi thing, where like it hasn't been so good this year. We just got the return from injury. But I think he's better than what he's shown this year, and the matchup is much better than what Kikuchi is getting. So if you're like, I'm really scared of this Kikuchi thing, you can get a mid-price pitcher in Imanaga in a much better spot. We saw Matthew Boyd be okay yesterday from like a real life performance and put up a great fantasy game, because that's what happens when you're a left-handed pitcher against the Guardians, and he's probably going to get the win because that's what happens against the Guardians and when you have the Cubs offense behind you. So it's really those four for me. If I can get the big two, great. Otherwise, I prefer Kikuchi, and then Imanaga is kind of the consolation prize that would fit in for me.
Okay, good stuff. Dean noting we've got no Helio Ramos for San Francisco. I don't know how much we care, but that is clearly something other than what we had projected. Let's flip it. Let's talk about the bats and the stacks. And you gave us a little tease that you might be dabbling in some Astros tonight. What else do you like?
Yeah, we can start with the Astros because I truly don't think I've played them yet. So we're into July, and I don't think I played the Astros all year, which is kind of crazy because they've been pretty popular several different times.
Also
I think
this must have been winning because they've only been good twice all year.
Well, that's up for debate. Winning is a little different of a conversation. But like yesterday, I feel like I faded everything that I made every good fade. I followed Roth's advice, right? I did fade the Astros. Shout out Victor Caratini for burying me somehow out of left field. But I didn't have. We had Ohtani. We had Corey Seager. It was great. But it didn't. It was fine. Yesterday was fine. Okay. The Astros today, though, I think this is a pretty significantly different spot. I mean, you see on your screen, they're going to be popular. We have them close to 31% optimal. But it's also because there's cheap bats in this lineup, and like some of the best bats are cheap, and that's what's really appealing to me. If you want to get Hunter Brown, if you want to get Gilbert, if you want to use them to get Ohtani, you want to use them to get the Dodgers bats, which are probably my actual favorite stack. Like you can do that because they have some really cheap options in this lineup. Like I don't feel the need, if you play the Dodgers, it's like I gotta play Ohtani. Do I got to play Mookie? Do I got to play Will Smith or whatever? With the Astros, I don't feel the need to play any of the expensive guys if I don't want to, and still get exposure to them. And they have some interesting, some good and some just interesting young hitters that are really cheap for Coors Field and for this matchup. So they are, a top stack for me. They're not like my favorite, like run scoring stack or maybe even fantasy point stack, but they're actually cheap. In Coors Field in a good spot. So they definitely pop for me, but there are a bunch of other stuff. If you want to say, let's X the Astros, let's X the Dodgers out. I do think there's a bunch of appealing stacks. Yankees. If you don't believe in the Kikuchi thing, I think the Braves are okay because they do have some good, obviously some good right-handed power bats. I've X'd out the Braves today, but I really like the Yankees. I think Berrios is just one of those guys that's like he's gonna hum a bunch of pitches down the middle. He doesn't really walk guys, right? And you get Judge and Ben Rice and Jazz Chisholm, and there's upside in the Yankees bats. But there's also like I think you mentioned Boston again, right? Or no, Atlanta. You said Atlanta. The Angels are an awesome stack. I think today Fuentes is not good. I'm not concerned about Fuentes being good. I am concerned about how good the Angels are, but Trout's back, right? Taylor Ward's been great. They have some also cheap options there. And then I really like the Rangers again, which has been a kind of hit or miss, but Corey Seager we'll get to shortstop. Corey Seager is probably my favorite shortstop, and they have a bunch of cheap options as well. If you don't want to play the Astros and you want to get a high upside stack with some pretty cheap bats, I think the Rangers are kind of the 1B to the Astros for me tonight.
Okay, good stuff. Cheese, some of your favorites.
Yeah, so I think I made this clear enough in the musings. Like as much as I dislike the Astros, like this is the right spot for them. They are, if I'm taking all ownership and personal bias out of it, they're definitely the number one team, like salary for expected output. Like I'm not full fading Houston tonight like I did last night. With that being said, there's like half the teams in the league I don't think should ever be chalk. And they're in that half. Like teams that just aren't great shouldn't be heavy chalk. And I'm not sure exactly what heavy chalk means. Like this isn't like a 50% owned situation. So you don't have to fade them just based on that. They're not good enough even in this great matchup. I will not be surprised at all if they score 20 runs and break the slate. Like they have that, like it's just the perfect matchup for that to be a possibility. However, what I see is chalk on essentially, let's call them the 20th best team in the league. That's where they are in run score this year, 20th. Teams 1, 2, 3, and 4. Dodgers, Cubs, Diamondbacks, Yankees. Essentially, other than the Dodgers, unowned. Do you want team 1, 2, 3, 4, or team 20? I'll take 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that's just kind of how I'm doing it. Dodgers, Cubs, Diamondbacks, Yankees. When I need salary, it's Rangers, Angels, and Red Sox. There you go. That's my slate.
Is Houston, excuse me, is Houston your number one owned stack, Cheese?
No, not at all.
Wow.
Okay. They're like my 7th or 8th.
Wow. Okay.
I think they're a little too high owned, even though I think it's a great spot. And I'm just not willing to be overweight on them.
I get that.
I think there's some good individual plays that maybe aren't.
I'll also say that, like last night I had 0 period anywhere, even individual plays. Like tonight I have a few stacks, but I also am willing, as when we go through positions, I've got a little Paredes, a little Cam Smith, a little Christian Walker. Like there's plenty of things you can do if you're not stacking them.
Get ready to learn Shea Whitcomb, baby. Shea Whitcomb night.
Okay. I want to go position by position, but I remembered from last night that Beimfohr wants me to start in a certain spot so that he does not begin at outfield. So do I start with you?
I can't remember.
Catcher.
I'm not good at math.
First,
You're supposed to. You're the host. You're supposed to figure this out.
No, I screwed it up in my head.
If I keep talking, is this like where people start to count and you like throw random numbers out there? It's going to throw you off.
I think I start with you, but I might be screwing this up.
You start with Eric.
Yeah.
So I don't get outfield for it.
Yes, I think if I start with you.
Outfield is overwhelming. Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't know how many to name because you also have the guy behind you. I'm like, I don't want to say everybody.
I just want to say this. So you guys, before we get there, I do things
by hand,
the real way on paper. And I spilled some water and I had to rip a piece of my paper off to like paper clean water. And I ripped off the top of my outfield. So for top tier outfielders, I don't know who it was. I see the end of Judge's name. So I'll start looking now.
Okay, we gotta decode that. We gotta figure it out. All right, Beimfohr, what are you doing a catcher?
So what's even funnier is I was 2 minutes late into the StreamYard, and it's because I also spilled a drink immediately before we started here. So I don't know if that's good. We're both screwed, or we're in lockstep, with these things.
We'll find out by the end of the night.
3 hours, you'll know in about 3 hours. Catcher, as we just talked about the Astros, but Yainer is one of those guys that I don't really like to play at super high ownership and at an expensive price. I prefer the other spend ups, and the guy that I actually prefer is on the Yankees, and it's Ben Rice. Ben Rice has been unbelievable against right-handed pitching. And getting him right, he's been a first baseman. We're getting the fun little Yankees experiment here to get him catcher eligibility. So that's something I want to take advantage of while it lasts. He doesn't have the best matchup, but he doesn't have the worst matchup. But he might be, in terms of his hitting ability, and the handedness and the splits and all that kind of stuff at this price, he might be the best hitter here. That's up for debate with Yainer and Will, probably with Will Smith. If I can't go up there and get Ben Rice, or I'm not interested in stacking the Yankees, Sean Murphy versus Kikuchi. If you don't believe in the Kikuchi thing, I think that's totally acceptable. If there's one guy that I want to home run hunt against Kikuchi, I think Sean Murphy is a very good option. But the catcher pool is not amazing. Like, you want to spend up to be contrarian with William Contreras. I get it. Tyler Stevenson. I'm kind of doing more of the catcher with my stack here. And so Will Smith right now, again, full transparency, is in my lineup because I like the Dodgers and I can get some cheap Astros to afford Will Smith. But like I said, Ben Rice, if I want to play like a one-off here, or I'm stacking the Yankees, I really, really like him. And then I'm kind of doing the catcher by stack.
Okay, Cheese, catcher thoughts?
Yeah, I agree that Ben Rice being a catcher is life-changing in the most wonderful way.
Is he catching?
Sometimes
they're working on. They want him
Yeah.
to catch because they want to get his bat in the lineup with Stanton back.
Okay. So no, the answer is no. He's not playing catcher.
Well, he's not like their
Yes.
main catcher, but he is catching some because Austin
Yeah.
Wells got hurt. Yes, he has caught enough to be catcher. Like it's
Okay.
not, they're just not making it up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
Like they did. I forget who they did it with when they put Jorge Polanco at shortstop and he hadn't played a single
They've done
inning
some
there all year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, Rice. This is actually legit.
Okay.
It's interesting to have Connor Wong in the lineup now. He's 2,100. There's nothing amazing, but a $2,100 catcher on a team I like is fine. And also Travis d'Arnaud is in the lineup, and he's cheap, so I'm okay with cheap catcher. Will Smith, other than Ben Rice, is my favorite. I think that's enough to mention.
Dean pointing out Rice is actually catching tonight. So all of my
Suck it, Roth.
Or not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're
that.
not wrong to wonder, though, if they're
Yeah.
just like, hey, let's make this guy third base.
Yeah. Well, the way you worded it, you were like, him being a catcher is so wonderful. I was like,
Yeah.
Is he? All right.
Like they put Otani, give Otani
Right.
catcher eligibility. Yeah.
It seemed a bit odd. All right.
Yeah.
Cheese, first base.
So Otani is, $6,400, and I'm good with that. Like, I don't think he's some kind of must play. I think I slightly prefer Judge if you just get one spend up tonight. But obviously those guys are both great. I'm fine with Christian Walker. He's one of the Astros I'm okay with. I don't love him, but I'm fine with him. I actually have some Ben Rice at first too, just because there's enough catchers to like. Michael Busch and Pavin Smith, I like. They're kind of off the radar. Abraham Toro is the cheap guy that I like a lot. And that's about it.
Okay. Beimfohr, your thoughts first.
Yeah, very little to add there. I will say another cheap option that I'm interested in is Jake Berger on the Rangers. He has been dreadful, so much so that he got sent down. I did not see that one coming. I'll be honest with you. He was like a StatCast god last year with Miami, and I think the Rangers thought they were going to get something a lot better than they're getting with Jake Berger this year. But I still kind of believe a little bit, and this is a spot against a pitcher who doesn't strike anybody out. That if you don't, if you're not playing the Red Sox, you don't want to play Toro as the punt. Berger is 2,900 on DraftKings, but like full transparency, like I'm playing Otani. Like he's unbelievable. And he is I think the Judge thing is an interesting one in terms of the spend up option, but I don't love first base. Like we'll get to the outfield, right? I punted outfield to Cheese tonight for a reason, because it's so good. And tonight I do think it's like exceptionally good.
The reason I said it is on this sheet, Otani's name got like totally ripped out. Judge, you can still see the Udge. So that's I had to say that.
I like Judge better because it's still on my
I can still make out the name.
All right. How about second base, Beimfohr?
Let's see here. Yeah. So, people are going to ask about Jose Altuve because apparently every show that I do, if Jeffrey Springs isn't pitching, we get Altuve at some reasonable ownership. And I just want to highlight how bad he has been. Like historically, right? Altuve has at a minimum been elite against left-handed pitching. That could not be further from the truth this season. Paying that price for him, even against a left-handed pitcher, he has hold on, I just want to double check that I get the number right. 212 expected WOBA against left-handed pitching. Spoiler, that's not good. It's quite bad. Jake Berger was better than that and got sent down to the minors. That's Jose Altuve has been terrible. So if I'm playing an Astro second baseman, yes, I'm playing Shea Whitcomb. As you see, he's top optimal. That has a lot to do with price, because he's, I believe, 2,500 on DraftKings. But he's an interesting young hitter that really hit the ball, and specifically for power in the minor league. So he gets Gomber, right? He gets the platoon advantage. He's right-handed. He gets all of these perks and might just straight up be a better hitter, at least against left-handed pitching, than Jose Altuve is right now, which I understand sounds blasphemous, but he's 2,500. Like he's less than half the price of Jose Altuve. If I'm playing an Astro, I am playing him. I'm not playing Mauricio Dubon. I do really like Jazz Chisholm though. If I'm going to pay up for a guy there, I like Jazz over Altuve, and then Matt McClain and Christian Moore. I guess I should shout out Christian. If you're not, if you're Xing out the Astros and you need a cheaper guy, I do like Christian Moore because I really like the Angels and he's intriguing, I guess. But Matt McClain, I'm going to keep slapping it up with Matt McClain. He just has a ton of upside, and I really like the spot for the Reds. Some of the Reds, not all of the Reds, some of the Reds today.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese, your thoughts at second?
Yeah, similar. I mean, I would play Shea Whitcomb over Altuve if they were the same price. Like, I'm not joking. I mean, like Altuve's exit velocity this year is in the second percentile, meaning 98% of Major League Baseball players are better than him in exit velocity, which is a very relevant stat. Like, he's just old. And we all get old. I'm old too, but I'm not playing baseball anymore. Whitcomb, in the minors is like a 25-25 guy. Power speed, take the shot on the cheap guy. Yeah. By all means, play some Altuve. If you're stacking a bunch of Houston and want to be over the field, sure. You want to get everyone at the top of the lineup, but yeah, I will back up everything Erik was saying. Whitcomb is just, that's what I would do. I love Jazz Chisholm as well. Second base really dries up in a hurry. I think Marte is interesting. I've talked about the Diamondbacks a bunch. They're the team that for sure gets overlooked. Even the people who are spending up outside of Houston are mostly going to be doing Dodgers. And then even the Cubs, I think, will come in ahead of Arizona. So I do like playing them just to be different. But he's too expensive to go out of your way for. And then if you don't want to play Whitcomb, what am I looking at? Mayer for Boston. You can do instead.
Cheese, you can bring us to third.
Okay, so Paredes is one of the Houston guys I'm playing on his own. I prefer Muncy and Jazz Chisholm, but those guys are all close. If you don't want to believe in Kikuchi, Riley is cheap. But essentially Paredes, Muncy, and Jazz. I'm mostly playing Jazz at second. But those are my top guys. You also have the Toro thing at third. I've got a little bit of Addison Barger, just kind of always against any righty. I think that's about it.
Dean, by the way, doing the legwork here. The players that have a lower exit velocity than Altuve this year, and yes, you can type them all because there's only 4 of them. Matt Shaw, Jose Iglesias, Caleb Durbin, and Tyler Fitzgerald. Those are the 4 hitters.
When Cheese asked, you must be winning money this year, it's like, I played a lot of those guys.
Yeah, he swapped him out for Tyler Fitzgerald. Has been the problem.
I'm not playing. At least I'm saving money on my 70-mile-an-hour ground balls from Tyler Fitzgerald. But yeah, it's not going well.
Yeah. Okay, third base, Erik. What do you like?
We'll start similar to Ohtani. Austin Riley seems great, but we talked about the Kikuchi thing, and if I'm buying that and potentially playing Kikuchi. Austin Riley also hasn't been quite as good, especially against left-handed pitching this year. I assume he's going to be fine, right? Long-term, it's going to be fine. But I'm willing to kind of just ride the Kikuchi train, and I'm not going to play Austin Riley. If you want to play somebody else at second base, you can play Whitcomb here on DraftKings. I believe on FanDuel, too. I think he's second, third, and outfield on FanDuel. Speaking of they just throw positions onto players. Ben Rice is going to be like a shortstop on FanDuel here pretty soon, I think. Toro looks really good here at a cheap price as well, and pretty nice ownership, hitting third for the Red Sox at 2,800. If you're not playing it right, if you're playing Ohtani, I like Toro at third base as well. You can play Jazz here, right? So there's a lot of flexibility in the Whitcomb, Jazz, like Toro, like mix and match. Ohtani, right, is first base and outfield. You can kind of move guys around. So some of the second basemen that we talked about are already here, and then Max Muncy is probably my, if I don't have like Whitcomb here or something like that. Cheese mentioned Paredes, but I think I prefer Muncy to Paredes here because we haven't mentioned that many Dodgers, or at least not as emphatically. And I do really, really love the Dodgers tonight.
Okay, Erik, how about short?
Yeah, that Corey Seager guy, still exceptionally underpriced and very, very good. last night continued the onslaught that is Corey Seager. I mean, $3,800 for Corey Seager. I don't know why he went.
Cloud in the chat says, I'm going to ride the Texas train until some of their prices go up. Plain and simple, they're too cheap. And that's Corey Seager.
100%. So, like, we mentioned the Astros stuff.
If Corey Seager and Jose Altuve switched prices, Corey Seager would still be underpriced and Jose Altuve would still be overpriced if it wasn't Coors Field today.
Thanks.
Even if it is Coors Field. This doesn't make any sense. And it definitely doesn't make any sense that he's only 10% owned at 3,800 in this matchup. Like, I don't
he's
know
not, he's not 10%.
Yeah, I agree. But I just, again, like, full transparency, like, I'm not doing Mookie. I would easily rather play Corey Seager than the current version of Mookie Betts. I do like Zach Neto. It's just, I like the spot, but like 1,200 more than Corey Seager is very difficult. I'm just playing Corey Seager. I understand he's popular, but I have a lot of other ways to play some lower owned guys.
Yeah. Okay. Cheese, your thoughts at short.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I think Seager is like 50% owned in single entry stuff. And that's fine. I'm still playing him. So yeah, Mookie Betts is like, a glorified Jose Altuve right now. Like, yeah. I think I think Betts will come around. Altuve may or may not. I mean, they're both getting older. I think Betts, there's really something to just his kind of off-season issues. So to me, he's still not much of a play, even in Dodger stacks. So yeah, Seager, I like getting some Ellie in there, spend up to be different. I like Zach Neto, Trevor Story in that mid tier looks pretty good. And that's about it.
That brings us to the outfield. We did indeed do our eeny, meeny, miny, mo correctly, so that Cheese gets to lead the outfield.
Yeah, I have no idea.
You don't know what the top.
Udge and Knee are at my top plays. So, all right, let's say this. The one guy who, small sample, looks fully legit is Cam Smith for Houston. Like, it's small sample. It's like 50 at bats against lefties, but like it's really great stuff. So I'm on board with Cam Smith. Even if you're not stacking Houston. I also love the Astros bats in the mid tier. Trout, Ward, Adele. Love all three of them, whether together or on their own. I like Teoscar Hernandez in that tier. The Red Sox guys, Duran, Willier, and Anthony, I like a lot. And they're all these guys are very reasonably priced. So like, as much as I like Ohtani and Judge, I prefer to get, if I can get three of those guys in the mid 4Ks on DraftKings, that's what I'm going to do. It's the very cheap stuff. There's a little bit of it, but not a ton. Osuna for Texas is batting fifth, and he should be more than 2,200. So he's my favorite punt if you need a punt. Jorge Soler is only 31. Conforto for 3,000. These are fine. Stanton for 33. I've got a little bit of all those guys mixed in, and then Adolis Garcia kind of in between those pricing ranges. That's my main group of outfielders.
Okay, Erik, your thoughts?
A lot of the same guys. This is, you mentioned like the Judge Ohtani thing. This is why I prefer Ohtani, because I can play him at first, and I don't have to. It's like, I almost said like I don't have to sacrifice an outfield spot for Aaron Judge, and that sounds like so blasphemous. Like, I'm not sacrificing an outfield spot for Aaron Judge.
Just want to bring up a couple things from the chat. I did just refresh to get it off the screen, but no Teoscar Hernandez in the Dodgers lineup, and Spencer Steer also just got scratched for the Reds.
Yeah.
All right.
Didn't mention him, but I did kind of like Steer.
Yeah, I had a couple of red stacks, so I'm going to do that while we're chit-chatting here. And Teoscar, you can swap to Paez if you need to.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I do like the other Dodgers outfielders. Michael Conforto is in the lineup, correct? He has been about as bad as all these other idiots that we've been talking about here today. But I still kind of hold out a little bit. He's a little more on the Mookie side versus, like, I kind of think what the best of Jose Altuve is over. I hold out. I'm keeping a light on for Mookie Betts for sure. He's 3 years younger than Altuve, and there's at least like a reason to believe with the offseason stuff. I mean, the dude was like like the size of me when I was in 7th grade coming into the season. Like, it's difficult to probably, hit for power in Major League Baseball. Conforto's been terrible, but this is like, it's possible it's just over for him as well. But I kind of am still, like I said, I'm still holding out hope until we get the really cheap price. He's a great way as well to get like savings on, like, how do you get Ohtani? How do you get Muncy? If you want Judge, if you want, you want Altuve, that's a way. Will Smith, that's a way to get within a Dodger stack. I do actually like Conforto. I prefer Pages, like straight up. And of course, even at 4,200, I prefer Pages. I totally agree with the Cam Smith thing. And Mike Trout, still very good. And Mike Trout is like the outfield Corey Seager. It's just he's at a tougher position, right? But like 4,500 is stupid. It's still stupid. It's bad. It's wrong. He's awesome, just like Corey Seager is still awesome. And 4,500 is not an appropriate price. But he's in the outfield where there's a lot of really good plays. Cooper Hummel, the other Astros guy, that I'm less excited about him than Whitcomb and Cam Smith, but he's like intriguing for 3,600 amongst the Astros outfielders. And then I don't think anybody else. Cheese mentioned Roman Anthony, but like he's also just awesome. Like the results have not been perfect, but I mentioned Altuve's expected WOBA, so which is like what Cheese mentioned, like exit velocity and stuff is tied into your expectations for how you're getting on base and hitting for power with WOBA. Roman Anthony is the stone cold opposite. 432 expected WOBA and a 307 expected ISO so far this year against right-handed pitching. He is what we thought Roman Anthony was going to be when he came up to the Red Sox. The batted ball luck just hasn't quite been there. So I'm in. I'm going to keep playing Roman Anthony.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff, guys. I want to make sure we give the people some home run calls, and we want to make sure we're giving them the best deal in the industry as well, because Dean couldn't be bothered to read the promo. I will do it. The MLB DFS annual option, $425, but we decided we're going to drop the price of our combo product. So you get all the sports for the price of baseball. Why would you not want to do that? Combo 6-month Pro gives you access to content, tools, and projections for every single sport at a cheaper price than the monthly package. You actually save 35% by doing the 6-month instead of the month by month. And of course, that will include football, as football is right around the corner, as Dave Potts likes to say. So make sure you're signing up. Best deal. Is it back there? Is it right there around the corner? We got some home run calls to give them. Cheese, what do you like?
Let's do a little Mike Trout.
Ooh.
And Corey Seager. And I think it's time. For Michael Conforto to come back.
Oh, baby.
Okay. A little Conforto in our lives. Also note, you got some Spidey bombs scrolling at the bottom. We've got 3 of them right now. If you want a 4th, it's really easy. All you got to do is hit the thumbs up wherever you're watching. Marte, Seager, and Tucker. That's a double for Seager because he's a cheese bomb and a Spidey bomb. He may even be a Beimfohr bomb. I don't know. Who do you like?
Well, he is, but I'm going to give 3 other ones.
Should.
I agree with all 3 of Cheese's. Well, I'm not going to put it on record with Conforto. I already talked about Michael Conforto enough. I don't want it out there that I also picked a home run for him.
Fair.
Let's go Shea Whitcomb. He's going to show the Altuve folks what a real power hitter in the Astros lineup looks like. And then I'm going to go Roman Anthony as well, and Jazz Chisholm are my 3.
What are the odds on Whitcomb, and has he hit a home run yet? I don't know how long he's been up in the bigs.
I don't believe he scored a fantasy point in the major leagues yet.
It was very exciting. Do you have
going to get it tonight?
An easy way to see what the odds are?
He is 0 for 9 or 0 for 9.
Okay.
No, 0 for 9 in the bigs.
Well, that's not great. But do you have a way to see what his home run odds are? Because I want to know what.
Yeah, I'll look it up, but you'll have to give me a quick second.
You look that up. In the meantime, we're going to answer some questions. We've got less than 10 minutes until lock, I think. Although they always move the time on me, which is confusing. Let's start in the Discord where the cool kids hang out.
Canadian national anthem, Roth.
Oh, is it? It's a 07 time. Shout out to Canada. Well, hey, happy Canada Day, TJ. Was it yesterday or today?
Yesterday it was.
What do you do for Canada Day? Is it like 4th of July? You're blasting off fireworks and grilling out?
Yeah, we don't do anything personally in our house, but that's the same basis of barbecue fireworks.
Is it really fireworks too? Do you like murder each other with fireworks like us stupid Americans do? Like,
so maybe
that...
I mean, some people probably do. We have stupid people as well. There's just not as many.
Not as many.
We're more spaced out. We're more spaced out. And
It's probably the same per capita. They're just not as many. They're just not everywhere.
That's pretty close to the same for sure. Yeah, it was like, so like we have a big freshwater river running through the middle of our city. And so there was like, it was actually kind of crazy to see because we drove by it, but like in a town of only 300,000 people, there was like thousands of people on the grass by the river as they like shot, like somebody organized was shooting off fireworks from like a bridge. And it was a pretty cool sight.
Canada Day seems awesome. I'm in on that. I need to go to the origins. I feel like you just stole it from us and then stole what we were already doing and called it Canada Day, but that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we don't have to get into it. The origins are part of the reason we don't really celebrate it in our house, and so
okay.
But overall, it's pretty much just a like Walmart version July 4th kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds like a good time. All right, let's get to some QQs, and we like to start in the Discord. That's where the cool kids hang out. FanDuel GPP Cheese. I currently have a 4-3-1 with Paredes or Freeman. Freeman would make it a 4-4. Paredes would just be a one-off.
Freeman.
Okay. Very good. Cheese coming right back to you from Alex. 3-6 or less. I need a catcher in DK Cash. Also, Cheese, shout out the green call this morning. Headed to the local well to grab a stack of wings. Also, my phone is dying. I hope you can get this info. That's way more info than we needed, but thank you. 3-6 or less at DK catcher, and shout out for your green call this morning.
So 3,600 is kind of, at that point, I would almost say just go down to like Darno and spend the money elsewhere. My favorite right under that mark would be Jonah Heim. If you could do Sean Murphy there, I would do Heim if that's just where you're sitting.
Yeah. Okay. Ruthless Villain says Roman candle wars are the best. Yeah, my friends and I used to do that and shoot bottle rockets at each other, and we would hold like a garbage lid in front of our faces so that you wouldn't get one in the eye, and just pew, pew. We called it Gladiator. It was awesome. Oh, good times.
It's like American Gladiator, where you would run through the like obstacle course, and there was the Gladiator up with the gun with the tennis balls.
Yeah. Oh, it was good times.
Except with explosives.
Right, man. Let's see. Here we go. We got a few questions coming in. Joseph says, Erik, Gilbert or Mozarowski?
Gilbert for sure. Also, just quickly, the folks were saying Whitcomb on DraftKings is plus 390 to hit a home. He's priced like goddamn Pete Alonso to hit a home run. It's insane. But he is plus 520 on FanDuel. We have him. Good shout out scoresandodds.com at an efficient number of plus 400. So FanDuel is a pretty nice price if you want to dabble.
Okay, good job. That was some good investigative work.
Thank you.
Yeah, that seems that's like the price of actual, bona fide star. That's not
$390. Jeez. Yeah. You wonder why we like him better than Altuve.
Right.
That's crazy.
Oh, we should look up Altuve's number. Anyways, top 2 pitchers in a FanDuel tournament. Cheese. There's only 2 pitchers that we actually. Well, I shouldn't say that. Who are your favorite 2?
Kikuchi and Gilbert.
Okay. Let's see.
Altuve is plus 400, by the way.
Better
so the market agrees with the take. Yeah.
Devin, Erik, this one's for you. DK single entry, Ellie and Belly. It's hard to say no to Ellie and Belly, or Henderson and Acuna.
Ellie and Belly, not just because of the name.
Yeah. Okay. FanDuel single entry. Right back to you, Erik. Kikuchi or Warren?
Kikuchi.
Scrolling down. Cheese, what do you think Kershaw will score on points tonight? FanDuel. So he wants an exact number of points Kershaw will score on FanDuel. That's a hard one.
27.
27. Lock it in. Which Dodgers Cheese are most likely to get pitch hit for? I already have Edman in. Should I switch to Conforto?
No, Edman is the lowest pinch hit risk because he's a switch hitter. Like probably no one, but if someone gets pinch hit for it, it's either Conforto or Kim.
Okay, great. Eric, coming back to you. We've got 5 minutes until lock. Brown or Gilbert for cash?
Gilbert.
Okay. Hoosiers Hang Banner says, is the league ready for Cam Jones?
The basketball player?
I don't know who that is. K-A-M?
Cam Jones is a basketball player that was just drafted by the Indiana Pacers, but Cam Smith
that explains it. It's Hoosiers
player.
Hang Banners who asked the question. So, yeah.
But yeah, I think the league's fine with Cam Jones.
They'll survive. Yeah.
He's not. This isn't LeBron. He's a
Yeah.
second round pick for the Indiana Pacers. I think they'll be all right. I think the leagues are just going to be just fine.
Yeah. Let's see. Joseph says, Cheese, you want Texas or an Angels 4-man stack?
I mean, I definitely want both. I guess I'll say Angels, but I love them both.
Geez, a lot of people mentioning that Berrios, my guy, has been good against New York. Do you care? And unrelated to whether or not you care, do you have any interest against New York tonight?
I certainly don't care about that. He's fine. There's a whole bunch of guys in that price tier who are fine. Like Eric and I are playing Imanaga and Kikuchi, but if you like Berrios and Kershaw or Cameron, like they're all fine-ish. Yeah, Berrios has good starts now and then. Like every fourth start is really good. I have 0 personally.
Yeah. Cheese, your favorite pitcher with the highest K upside. Is that where Kikuchi comes in?
Yeah, it's Kikuchi and then Hunter Brown.
Yeah. And then I'm pairing these questions together. Eric, why so high on Gilbert? And then Michael saying, what's the best option to pair with Gilbert and DK Cash?
Gilbert is right there. Maybe the best pitcher on this. Him and Hunter Brown are arguably we could split hairs about who's the best. I don't know. I really like Hunter Brown. Anyway, he's the 1A, 1B best pitcher on the slate with a nice savings. The price is especially, sub 10K for Gilbert on FanDuel is crazy. The matchup is fine from a run prevention perspective. The Royals are not an intimidating offense. It's just the strikeouts are so, but that's why the price is really helpful for Gilbert. So it's kind of a combination of a bunch of things. I think Cheese hit on this. Like, I'm not sure Gilbert has the highest ceiling on the entire slate, but he almost assuredly has the highest floor.
Just
because Hunter Brown
a simple
is pitching in
stat
course.
while you're talking. For pitchers over 40 innings, Gilbert is number 1 in the entire league in strikeout minus walk ratio, ahead of Skubal, ahead of Wheeler, ahead of Crochet.
Which is crazy.
He's been that good.
Yeah. Okay. That's some fairly compelling reasons. Let's see. FanDuel pitcher. Is it okay, Cheese, if I go Imanaga to get to Ohtani?
I think it is.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it. I like him a little more on DraftKings. But yeah, he's fine.
Cheese, which Cubs outfielder would you leave out of a stack?
I mean, if salary allows you to leave Hap out, that's always what you do. But they're all good. Like Hap is totally fine to play, in which case I would leave Suzuki out for him. But you're really kind of splitting hairs. Like they're all just great, which is why we like the Cubs.
Yeah.
Don't leave PCA out because he can steal
do it
3
all.
bases and hit 2 home runs.
Yeah. We got a lightning round this because I missed some Discord questions. My bad, Discord. On DK, which combo, Will Smith and Profar or Yanier and Cam Smith? Eric, Smith, Profar or Yanier, Diaz, and Cam Smith?
I don't want to play Profar, so the second one.
Okay. DK single entry, Eric Stanton or Conforto?
Oh, Jesus. Conforto, I guess. I can't believe we're doing this with Conforto.
Both people who used to be really good. And
They're going to ask about Altuve versus Mookie next, and I'm going to
Cheese. Are lefties versus Cleveland a thing, and do you like Imanaga in a DK GPP?
yes and yes.
What does Mr. Cheese think of pairing Kershaw and Kikuchi in a large field tournament? Also, best outfielder 5,400 or less on DK. Thank you.
I don't. Kershaw is fine. I'm not playing Kershaw. I have no issue with him. Like he should be fine. 5,400 for an outfielder. It's actually kind of a dead zone right around 5. And not dead. Like they're all fine hitters. I guess I'd say Suzuki. But I'm just as happy saving salary going to like Trout or Bellinger if you can use that money somewhere else.
Okay. Let's see. Ben Rice and Ozuna or Heim and Stanton.
Rice.
Okay. DK single entry right back to you, Eric. Pajes and Hunter Brown or Ohtani and Kikuchi?
Ohtani, Kikuchi.
Are you fading the Astros? Thanks, fellas. No, not really. But Cheese is underweight the Astros compared to the field. And Eric is playing the Astros for the first time all season.
So bet Gomber props and play Gomber. Yeah.
Yeah.
Done.
Good stuff. Hey, we hit the lock. Those are the things that we came here to do. We're gonna
other cash option. Can I ask? We didn't hit the other cash option with Gilbert. Cheese. Who would you play in? Are you going to go get Brown? Or are you going to not? Are you going to? Would you play Kikuchi in cash on draft?
I would be okay with Kikuchi. I think it's easy enough to get Brown. Like there's so many cheap bats.
I know
like,
no one here is really like a cash player, but I did just actually throw a build in, and I entered it in some contests too because I liked it, how it looked, and you can pretty easily play Ohtani, Brown and Gilbert together in cash. I built a lineup that had Brown, Gilbert, and Ohtani in it.
Yeah,
the only uncomfortable position I punted is catcher.
Yeah. Okay.
Shea Whitcomb to the rest.
Yeah, that's a comfortable punt.
Yeah.
The uncomfortable punt is Connor Wong, but every other player, wow, this is really good.
Yeah. Okay. Guess what? We did the things that we came here to do. I think we are going to bounce on out. So for Cheese and for Eric and for our wonderful production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. And we will catch you tomorrow. You have been